have you ever seen this where the local news anchors are like, and that's a real threat to our democracy? Like they're literally just reciting it, and it shows like all these different local news anchors across the country reciting it verbatim, word for word. It's become a social engineering propaganda tool that democracy is the greatest thing ever. We weren't founded as a democracy. This country's founded as a constitutional republic.
There's a line from some hip hop group from Vancouver, Sweatshop Union. In the beginning, it's like, if democracy is so good, why are we running it all over the world? Down people's throats.
Exactly. Spreading democracy by dropping bombs. This doesn't make any fucking sense.
Our political apparatus has been set up such that there is government by not merit, but every private institution is set up such that the highest order executives are chosen on merit. What happens if in the future micro-sovereignties are no longer run by a personality? This nation state, this micronation, is now run by the most competent person. And look at what Lee Kuan Yew did in the 80s in Singapore. His government was compensated based on economic returns and performance. Now you have Singapore as a sovereign microstate. It is widely regarded as one of the best places in the world to do business because Singapore is widely regarded as one of the freest, most open for business micronations in the world. And what Lee Kuan Yew did
Well, I guess we should start with The Sovereign Individual, the book on the table.
Yep.
Difficult read.
Maybe one of the hardest reads, in my view, the hardest read I've ever done. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's a battle.
I mean, I don't know if it's the hardest. It's definitely like kind of dry and painful to read.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of sort of dismal subjects.
Totally.
And it's an eye opener. It's like you feel like you're getting unplugged from the Matrix. Like it's a great,
100%.
obviously it's one of the best orange pilling books. And it's what's so interesting is that it's written in 1997.
Yeah.
So we're talking 20-ish years, not quite 20 years before Bitcoin.
Right.
But it was predicting the emergence of anonymous digital cyber cash, i.e. Bitcoin. It predicted the rise of narrowcasting rather than broadcasting,
Precisely.
i.e. social media. Predicted the government use of a pandemic to reinforce the integrity of its borders when things started to get weird. So, yeah,
right.
It's very prescient.
It's prophetic in that sense.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, I can't even imagine what reading this in 1996 or whatever would have been like people wouldn't have appreciated this in my mind for what it is. And I think it's taken the hindsight of post AD after Bitcoin for people to really zoom out on this and go, you know what? This is wild.
Yeah.
How successful was this book in its first 5-10 years of being released?
Good question. They have.
I would imagine they've sold an enormous amount of copies over the last 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I have in my online cart their previous book, the one they wrote in '88, but I haven't had a chance to read that one. But if you look at like the sales figures, at least on the Amazon rankings or whatever, this one's 10-1, 15-1.
Yeah.
Which in and of itself is the Pareto effect happening on that book. But to me, it's the necessity of the post-09 world that has made this the prophetic nature of what these authors write about being so profound. It's so important.
Yeah, definitely a book ahead of its time. So what, like how, if we were going to convince some people to read this book,
which I haven't, I'll admit that.
You haven't. So like how do you approach it? Like, how do you, let's say you read the book and then you were probably telling some people about it. Like, what was your pitch on the book?
I think the easiest way to make it digestible for people is to tell them up front that it's impossible and that it's font 2 and that it's all of those things. Because if you don't give people that, in our short time preference society where people are on 45-second TikToks, you know what I mean? Hobbies like reading, in my mind, have become such a niche hobby that it's the few and far between who even have the mental energy or the patience to read more than 15 minutes of anything. Yeah. You know, and we were talking about this just before we went live as well. The nature of the narrowcasting as well. It's like, because you have your own personalized news stream of whatever you want, it's so much easier to convey the baseball scores than describing how to play baseball and all of the rules. Yeah. So people don't have the attention span for that. So in my mind, the importance and the sales pitch, if you will, of trying to get people to read this is the unplugging from the matrix piece. It's like, if you have the courage to take a step in and try to unplug yourself, this book will ruin your life in the best possible way. Like in the best possible way. It's like it's a one-way door. It's the black hole, the orange hole of Bitcoin, if you want to call it that. It's the one-way door. You know?
Yeah, there's an event horizon that you cross. I've often described the Bitcoin revelation that way too. It's like it shatters your worldview, and then it like leaves you to pick up the pieces. And this book is part of the orange pilling journey, by the way. They're not different. So, yeah, it's fucking good. But are you gonna read it?
Oh, so I was gonna ask you that question. Would you suggest that somebody who's got a rather deep and comprehensive general understanding of Bitcoin read the book?
Yeah, I'd say again, depends how you go, but for me, to sit down and actually read that is harder than the audio. Because for me, the audio when I'm on the road or whatever is a much easier on a plane, is a much easier digestion process than sitting there. Because to me, this book has like a Jordan Petersonian level of density. It's like you read a sentence and you're like, hang on a sec. And then you go back and you catch it again and you're like, really, that's what the church was doing in the 1500s regarding levels of corruption or whatever. And it takes you that second, third try. But I haven't I've had, out of everybody I've shared this with, I've had 3 people who have had the courage to go down and read it. And all 3 of them have had the same result I had, which is like, what? The unplugging moment. Yeah. You know, but back to stay on that Peterson thread, it's like, if you're not on fire, I listened to him in, he had a 2017 lecture from one of his University of Toronto theories. And he's actually on entrepreneurship and business, but the main thesis that he brought up is like, it's impossible to sell somebody on something if they're not on fire and you're not water. Like if you are not water and the person is not on fire, good luck. And it's like, to me, that is this book, because it's like people in every generation, but particularly after our generation, there's no need. They're not on fire, man.
They are, but they don't know it.
There you go.
So how do you convince somebody that, hey, you're fucked, but you're unaware of how fucked you are?
You just have to wait till the fire heats up.
That's it, right? Until the
boiling frog thing.
Yep, the boiling frog thing, or the Samson Mao, the Max Payne theory. It's like as soon as you realize that there is no coming back and you are in max pain, Professor Payne is the best teacher. It's like, you got no choice, man. Either you solve this now or these dollars are being inflated away and your pension of $2,000 a month that you had relied on to support you because you have no savings in the bank account, that's worth less and less and less and less.
It's funny that is the thing we're coming to point people towards the book, because that is a point they make in the book, actually. Yeah. It's like, I'm not going to be able to do the numbers exactly right here, but it's like if you make $2 million in your lifetime, and instead of paying 10 or 20% tax on it, you're able to keep it and generate 5% yield. Then the decision to opt out of that tax regime and into this this self-sovereign regime, and this could be either opting out of fiat currency into Bitcoin, right? You eliminate the tax of inflation, or this could be optimizing yourself jurisdictionally so that you mitigate taxes. The decision, when you compound the interest across a lifetime of earnings, it's like, even if you only make $2 million in a year, it becomes like, I think it was like $10 million decision or something.
May I step in and finish?
Yeah,
that?
Please.
So on that front, there's, for every $5,000 in taxable income you're forced to pay on an annual basis, if you could only earn 10% compounded on that every year, over the course of a 40-year working life, that's a net loss of $2.2 million. Okay. So the answer then, as the book highlights, is if I were to give you $2.2 million, would you move to Bermuda?
Yes.
And the answer is, who would say no to that?
And with Bitcoin, it's the same principle, but even less work. It's like, would you switch your savings account for $2.2 million?
Bingo.
Right? Instead of leaving my purchasing power in fiat and getting debased, I just switched to Bitcoin as savings. And so that was like, when I started to see that, I was like, oh, this is like, there's a hydraulic pressure or an osmotic pressure. I don't know what metaphor you want to use.
Yeah.
It's not that Bitcoin's even optional. It's like people are going to get forced into this thing.
Yeah.
Through financial self-preservation. Like there's no other choice.
Through, in my mind, what's at the fundamental level, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs in that front. It's like we have the physiological needs of food, water, sex, so to speak. And then you got one level up from that, which is the safety need. And that safety need is physical safety, financial safety. So as soon as that $2,000 a month pension, you're being given as a transfer payment from our kind governments. Yeah. As soon as that is worth of a negligible value and your financial safety is at risk, that becomes the forcing function of the very least. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should take 1% of my savings and put it into here because I'd like to be able to buy bananas next month.
Exactly. That's when the fire's hot.
That's the fire, man, and that's the water. You know,
Yeah.
that's the BTC being water.
Yes.
You know,
For sure. But my answer would be yes.
Word
You
up.
got to read the book because
Well-
it's so profound in the points that it makes.
Yeah, and we were talking about this the other day, just how high leverage it is to read in this society that we live in
Yeah.
today.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
few people do. And
Yeah.
then if you have any, I don't know, general or above average intellect, the information that you can pull out of
yep.
what these other people have left is pretty incredible.
It's becoming such a low time preference activity that the likelihood that somebody can sit down and make an afternoon, even to do a chapter, is becoming zero. And it's like, look at the three of us in our stage of our lives.
Yeah.
Even if the three of us who are motivated to try to do this, if we try to make an hour to sit down to read or podcast or exercise or whatever, it's hard.
Yeah.
But then you take another person who's got 2 kids and is trying to raise a family and is just at that Maslow level of safety where it's like, nope, I am making this paycheck. This needs to go to my groceries this week because I'm on fire. They're, to rationalize to somebody like that, like, hey, you could go down this rabbit hole and we could unplug you from this matrix and you could go down this sovereign individual, Bitcoin, bright orange future world. The answer is, I'm on fire. I need to go get groceries right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the pain thing.
How many people do you think that are struggling are just going to hold on to this belief set? Because in order to be like fully be orange pilled, it takes a level of humility. You got to come to terms with the fact that like a lot of things that you believed about the world, like you were tricked. You got tricked, and some people will just never accept that. Like I find the most educated, successful people are the ones that have the hardest time grokking Bitcoin.
And this comes back to the point that Robert and I were talking about, or I guess the three of us really, was the male incentive structure. And it's like, no, I have an ego. No, you cannot change my belief system. No, I am in this position. I have made it. I am fine. I am not on fire. They're convincing themselves they're not on fire. Meanwhile, we're in the position like, I believe it's from Gradually Then Suddenly, the classic example of, it's like, no, the arsonist burns down the house and then dresses up as a firefighter and comes in the back door. It's like, it's such a brilliant metaphor. Look, I've saved the day. Look, I've saved the day.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to be rude. I'm just
go
trying to
ahead.
find this. Oh, I found it. This chart. So I did this for a piece I wrote a long time ago, and this was inflation/taxation savings impact on net worth after 40 years. So if you save $10,000 annually, and you could get 5% on it, it's $1.2 million. It's a $1.2 million decision. That might be Let's look at an average.
I guess it depends on the math, right? If you're making 5% on it, then that's
Yeah, so I think it would basically be something like this. What's the average? I don't know. Maybe the average person is saving $10,000 by switching from fiat savings account to Bitcoin and then moving to Bermuda, something like that, right?
Right.
And then if they could get 10% a year on that, that's a $4.4 million decision.
and
And
that's
the numbers get really crazy. And you're talking about someone that's actually making some money. It's like, all right, if a guy that's making some money could save $1 million a year on taxation, and he could stack 10% on that annually for 40 years, that's $442 million decision.
it's 10 generations.
Yeah,
That
so
is
it's like,
significant.
yeah, like, are you gonna switch your savings account and move? Like, well, that's the incentive basically.
Yeah. And the book goes into this. One of my favorite metaphors from the book is that the world is driven by the precept that if there's a $100 bill on the ground and you leave it there, eventually someone will pick it up. It's like it's simple, primordial incentives. Like, oh, there's that. So they don't have to be powerful incentives. Like even telling somebody, because the numbers become so exponentially staggering, like $442 million. It's like, I'm not saying that's not valuable. For that guy, it is 100%. But what I'm saying is if you told someone you could save $2.2 million or $1.4 million or whatever the math was, it's like just by switching your savings account, I think that is the $100 bill on the ground.
Yes.
And it becomes actually, ironically, in my mind, one of those news bites, a 45-second news bite, like a baseball score, somebody can look at and be like, oh, instead of a 3-hour long form podcast. Not that I think that's, I think that's the right answer for a lot of people. But I think for people who are not down this this rabbit hole in this bright orange future as far as we are, it's not the solution. The 3-hour long form answer.
It'll take, again, people feeling the pain, and then people being successful with this strategy, like opting out, and then they become imitation worthy. If someone's like, "Oh, fuck, this guy opted out and saved 100,000 a year, and he compounded it, and it became a $44 million, win." Other people are going to see that. They're going to copy this strategy,
and they're going to go back to their primordial drivers of, what would $1.4 million do for my family? What could $1.4 million do for my future? How badly do I want to opt out? How badly am I on fire? How badly is this bright orange future a bucket of water?
I got a question for both of you. What would you say to the naysayers? Because I have a lot of friends that I speak to. They're like, you're only pumped on Bitcoin because you bought it for a lot less than $100,000 a coin. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. With what I know now, if I had no Bitcoin in any capital whatsoever, I'd put it straight into Bitcoin. There is that element, that thing where people are like, oh, I missed it at 10 grand. It's 100 grand. I missed out. And then it's $1 million and they missed out. So just, I don't know, Darwinism. I love you. I'm here for you if you ever want advice, and good luck.
I think people just like to rationalize mistakes, and it's always easy to feel late for something. I always go back to that saying that the second best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The first best time is now. When you understand Bitcoin, it's like it's the tree that never stops growing, right? Because as long as people keep printing money, which is all humans have ever done that have ever been able to do it ever, as long as they keep doing that, following their own incentives, then Bitcoin's a fixed supply money, denominating an infinite supply money. Number go up forever. So it's like you don't care if it's 100,000. They're gonna say the same shit at 1 million. They're gonna say the same shit at 10 million. They're gonna say the same shit when the US dollar hyperinflates, and they're just gonna go the way of the dinosaur. I mean, I hate to be brutal about it, but I think a lot of this is kind of a Darwinian process. People that just aren't doing the work, they're not paying attention, not reading difficult books like this.
And this is where the book talks about the hyper Pareto function as well. And the hyper Pareto function being like in the information age, meaning post 89, 91, post Berlin Wall, with the invention of the microprocessor. It's like we're going to have more information aristocrats, more sovereign individuals who are hyper Pareto function rewarded, meaning not 80-20, like 93-7, who are hyper optimized and hyper rewarded for their decision. And you're going to have what the book calls losers and left behinds, the people who are going to have, instead of being able to go to their factory job and build their Ford car by turning their wrench 10 times a day for $75 an hour, suddenly that job is non-existent. And they then have to realize they have no resume. Their skill set is X. So those are going to be the hyper Pareto function in the negative direction. And those people, whether it's hyperinflating wherever we are they going to come out of this?
Well, they're going to come after the 7%. Is the concern
that's
that I
the
have.
thing. But that also is a driver for Bitcoin adoption. It's like when they try to execute the wealth redistribution schemes, tax the rich and take it all. The rich are gonna be like, well, fuck you. I'll
memorize 12 words, jump on a fucking plane, done. Go hang out in Siberia.
That's another crazy thing about Bitcoin is like, not only is it serving the people that are the poor that are trying to escape hyperinflation and survive and buy bread, but it's also serving the super rich. Like when the poor, get the pitchforks and torches out and come after the rich for wealth redistribution, the rich are gonna leave Dodge with Bitcoin.
They're in, as the book says, they're in digital heaven.
Yeah, right.
Like they're in an nth dimensional cyberspace. Like it's like no government has ever monopolized the ocean, which is a 3-dimensional lawless dimension, right? Now you take that, I guess, on the sailor practical side of things. Now you've got an nth dimensional digital heaven, so to speak, where sovereign individuals, information aristocrats can live and teleport their wealth instantly, securely. And even if someone comes knocking at their door, $5 wrench attack, no problem, man. I'm 3 of 7 multisig. Enjoy. So even the limitations we have as human being of being stuck in the physical realm, we're in the position now where, or we're about, in my mind, in the position where people who have that and have taken the responsibility, have taken their own sovereignty and be in the position to be in digital heaven, they've got their assets distributed on 7 keys in 3 countries. and have 3 passports, and it's like, all right, come get some.
Yeah.
Come get some, man.
Come and take it.
Right?
That's a great metaphor too, the high seas, that it's never been governed or monopolized or territorialized because it's the cost of projecting power on the high seas is too high. Like there's not enough, fucking no one lives there, so there's no tax base, right? So there's no revenue. And there are some people there though. There's pirates and there's other things. You could tax, and this is an issue we deal with, but no country has ever successfully established that dominion. And that's a really good metaphor. I actually used in this essay, I called Bitcoin the digital high seas. It's like you can't, it's the same thing, same concept, a place where coercion and power projection doesn't work, right? Like you can't coerce a math problem, basically. And so now we have access to this space. It's not a physical space, but it's a digital space, digital heaven, that you can largely opt out of the high seas thing. Opt out of the physical. I'm on no caffeine, by the way.
You're doing great.
I'm on day
kinetic power projection, extortion.
The kinetic power projection doesn't work in digital space.
The projection of violence, whether it's extortion, corruption, blackmail, it becomes impossibly difficult to do this. And this is where the Frederick C. Lane terms of competitive government become really important. So one thing I wanted to mention on this as well is the rise of the digital nomad being a factor in this discussion. It's like, so the prophetic nature of what's happening here is, okay, the book says, hey, we're going to be in this position where future information aristocrats, sovereign individuals are going to be highly sought after by future micronation states or the future of the nation state, whatever you want to call that, for their tax dollars. So look what's happened, and this is something I've monitored closely, especially since 2020, for a lot of things that I'm doing on my side, as you guys see there. In 2020, there was 21 countries in the world who offered a digital nomad visa, which says, hey, if you make more than 100 grand a year, we would love to have you in our country. Come live here for anywhere between, depending on the country, from 6 months to 18 months. Please come live here with your income. We would love to have you because those countries know that those individuals, those sovereign individuals, are looking for tourism and have the disposable income to be able to spend in a likely, I don't want to say second world country, but a country that doesn't have the cost of living of their homeland developed nation. And they can live there for 18 months and provide and benefit for the economy. Okay, so that's 2020. In 2020, where there's 21 countries. Then look at COVID, 2021, the lockdown, all of the metaphorical Berlin walls placed around the countries. You can't leave. What happened to digital nomad programs since 2020? They've exploded.
Yeah, of course.
So in 2025, now depending on how you count it, you've got anywhere between 43 and 75 countries saying, hey, please come live here. We would love to have you for 18 months. So not only do we have the ability to escape the tyranny of place, the tyranny of our physical bound, we now have the ability with these nomad visas, with citizenship by investment programs, to escape to digital heaven digitally, but also our physical body. Yeah, you know what? I'm off to Thailand for 18 months. They are happy to have me, and I'm happy to buy my $6 dinner for me and my family for the year. No problem.
Yeah.
Has capital controls, has there been a movement to combat that and keep people in place? Has that grown as well over the last 5 years?
Good question. I haven't looked at it, but I know again, to cite the book, the exit tax, the digital Berlin Wall, created in whatever it was, 92 or 94 by Clinton. And we have one too, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
Where it's like, yep. So that's the metaphorical Berlin Wall of saying, hey, you can leave, but we're going to find you. So the question back in my mind is, how long does that last? And as soon as the nation state gets to the point where it is extravagant, impoverished, and grasping, and it now has its top 5% of income earners, not just top 1% of 24-year-olds with no family, looking for a way to go to digital heaven and no longer live full-time in their place of residence, but move to place X, place Y, or place Z. How long are they able to enforce that with their pitchforks?
Yeah.
Come get my 3 to 7 multi-sig.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like as you create more of a problem you simultaneously create more demand for the solution to the problem. Right? So when you try to you create this problem of digital Berlin walls during the pandemic.
Yep.
Simultaneously, you create a lot of demand for people to circumvent that stuff and get out of there.
Precisely.
And you can't, that's the market force you can't fight in a way.
You could try.
So you can increase taxation, you can increase inflation, but all you're going to do is create more demand for Bitcoin.
Precisely.
More demand for these, sovereign individuals supporting technology services, et cetera. People to go out on their own and protect themselves from this predatory tax structures that we inhabit.
That's the black hole element to me of Bitcoin. It's like it's a vacuum.
Yeah, that's right.
Once you've got a tiptoe in there, the force and magnetism, I think that's the right word, magnetism with which it pulls you in is ever faster.
Yeah.
Because the faster they print money, the faster and more extravagant and more $37 trillion impoverished they become, the more grasping they become, the more it's a market mechanism for people to go back to their fundamental Maslow of hierarchy of needs driven values, to go, nope, my safety, my financial future is that second tier up. That is my safety function.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very important. It's something once you see, you can't unsee it. You have an outline here, the FedEx logo.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what I don't remember what that is.
So when you, if you look at the FedEx logo, it's got the FEDEX. And if you look between the E and the X, I think it is, you see an arrow. You ever notice that?
Oh, yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
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 The idea in my mind was like, once you see the arrow in the FedEx logo, every time you look at the FedEx logo, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you see the FedEx logo, you're like, oh, shoot. Yeah, there's the arrow.
Yeah.
My point is, once you see that future, once you see that black hole pulling you, it's like, no, there's no option. Like, this is it, man. This is it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't unsee the inflation.
Yes.
Education does that. Self-induced education, reading does that. It's like, once you read this book, or once you, whatever your orange pill moment is, the Sailor series, or meeting somebody who changes your life, or going to a restaurant and buying something in Sats. It's like, once you've done that, you're like, I can't unsee that. The Creature from Jekyll Island piece.
For sure. This is the perspectival shift that detractors of Bitcoin lack.
Right.
They're still thinking like, you got in before $100,000, so you got to sell above $100,000 and make some money. It's like, no, you don't understand. This is like, it is, what is, someone put it this way. They said, what is the exit? What is the exit trade on Bitcoin? Like, no, Bitcoin is the exit trade. Like, you are exiting the predatory system. You're moving into the strongest form of private property the human race has ever had access to.
The final trade.
There is the final trade. You don't go back. Like, you can't take profits. Like,
what are you going to take?
Another way I've said, like, it's not a pump and dump scheme because there's no better asset to dump it into. So it just pumps forever. That's what it is.
And maybe the vernacular is part of this. And I see this as sense like, you're using the word trade there. And I get it. But like, to me, that's part of the
of the problem.
The part of the issue is people are seeing it. It's like, this isn't a trade.
It's a one-way trade.
This is it's a black hole. This is the one-way door. It's like, are you going to, Jeff Boothian theory, are you going to exit the system? Will you reach escape velocity or will you not?
Are you going to take the red pill Neo or the orange pill?
That's it.
It's like,
anyway, we can go into this another time. Like, the prophetic nature of those kind of movies too. Like, if somebody watches The Matrix, like, go back, if they're from after our generation, I don't know if they'll get it in the same way we would. For that blue pill, red pill thing.
It's such a good metaphor too for Bitcoin. But then also watching the movie, it's like, they're literally harvesting people's labor energy just in a much more sci-fi grotesque way. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing the state's doing. Just
making a metaphor.
Just taxing it at the source.
Taxing it at the source.
Would you rather have 1 Bitcoin today or 2 Bitcoin a few years from now? Bitcoin mining is a tried and true strategy for accumulating Bitcoin. Over a 2 to 4 year time frame, successful miners have consistently accumulated more Bitcoin than they otherwise would with a traditional dollar cost average strategy. Blockware mining as a service enables you to start mining Bitcoin from your laptop. Blockware handles everything from securing the miners to sourcing low-cost power to configuring the mining pool. They do it all. Plus, with Blockware's one-of-a-kind mining marketplace, you can buy and sell live Bitcoin miners with just a few keystrokes. In this marketplace, buyers get to purchase live machines at vetted facilities, enabling them to mine with zero lead time. And sellers get the opportunity to liquidate their machines and hosting contracts at will. This means you can mine Bitcoin with zero long-term commitment and high liquidity on your mining rigs. Blockware will even cover your energy bill for 1 week per mining rig when you sign up at mining.blockwaresolutions.com/breedlove. Again, that's 1 free week of Bitcoin mining at mining.blockwaresolutions.com/breedlove. And on top of this offer, you can also use code BREEDLOVE to get $100 off your first mining rig with Blockware Solutions.
So it's part of that to me was like that's a vernacular thing in my mind, is that changing that trade. And to me, that's one of the things that I think, who is it? Jack Mallards, I guess, last year, a year and a half ago in Portugal or Madeira or wherever it was. Prague. I'm talking about his lecture he did where he wanted to change the vernacular, or he used, instead of saying the Bitcoin blockchain, he said the time chain.
Well, that's what Satoshi said.
Really?
Satoshi only used the term time chain.
Wow, there's something I didn't know. So so then maybe that's a Satoshi era thing. So, but my point is as soon as you could flip that vernacular from blockchain, which sounds ambiguous and sounds technical,
well, it's been hijacked
and it's
in
used to
some
scam
ways.
people.
And exactly, and then what you can change it to is it's Bitcoin is time, or Bitcoin is the time chain.
Yeah.
To me, that's one of those positive vernacular black hole changes, like changing it from the trade to no, this is the exit.
Yes.
This is the matrix.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. What? So I was going to ask about Moore's law, because the book goes into these mega political factors.
Yep.
And if I can recall them, it's like microbiology was one.
Yep.
Technology is the most important.
Climate and topography.
Climate and topography.
So go ahead.
How does Moore's law play into this? Because obviously the book is very heavy about how much the microprocessor changes everything.
Yeah.
How does Moore's law fit into the sovereign individual thesis?
So he talks about Moore's law, and then I think the other one is another gentleman named George Gilder, who talks about bandwidth optimization and the growth of bandwidth. So you went in 1993, I think the stat is from this is 1993, and the bandwidth was X, whatever X was. But if you follow a George Gilder or a Moore's distribution for the production of microprocessing power or the capacity of bandwidth power tripling every year, we're now at the position where even in the book, it was citing that by 2012, they estimated that every second in 2012, the world would be able to project as much information bandwidth as it did in 1993, I believe, in a year.
Wow.
In 2012. So I looked it up, and here we are in 2025 now, where 12 years later, 13 years later, it's like the fastest fiber optic cables for sending bandwidth are up at the point, I think it's like 1.75 terabytes a second.
Wow.
It's wild. So the point is what does that do? Yeah. Well, it means that the bright orange future and the capacity for things like the time chain and things like the multi-sig solutions become exponentially easier. Yeah. But it also becomes exponentially easier to teleport your life, to teleport information instantly. You know, one of the things that strikes me, and this is probably part of because of what I do, is like in 2023, I was able to, so after I finished graduate school, I went over to Japan, and I was still able, in my mind, to take phone calls. This was after the Zoom boom or whatever, right? It's like I was able to conduct work, business, personal relations as easy with someone 5,000, 10,000 miles away as it would for me to reach across this table and shake your hand. Was that possible even pre-2020? And the answer is no. Yeah. So back to, in my mind, your market function of the forcing function of this. So yes, you've got George Gilder and you've got Moore's law amplifying exponentially the power of information in broadband, But as a function of that now, anybody, future sovereign individuals, can conduct business from Bermuda, Japan, Florida, wherever, just 100%. As easily as they could in 2012, and definitely easier than they could in 1993 from their neighbor.
Yes. So more and more people can conduct business remotely as effectively as if they were local, right? Exactly. And so you combine that with these incentives of move to Bermuda, switch your savings account. It's like the whole thing again is like the pandemic was accelerationism on all of this process, trying to clamp down and squeeze the borders tighter and control people harder and tax them harder and print more money and all this shit. It's like, I always like the metaphor of as you squeeze it too hard, it slips between your fingers. Like that's what's happening, right? Like the state is trying to fight it, just like the medieval church tried to fight the spread of the printing press. And then what happened? People start using the printing press to print books about making printing presses. It's like you can't stop it.
Yep.
It's
like a knee on the neck. Like until that individual is dead, they're gonna fight to get out of that position.
Yes.
And once it's on, it's light switch. There's no middle, right? Like your light switch is on or your light switch is off. There's no like, you know, so the information genie is out of the magic bottle, like Aladdin's lamp is the term they use. I think that's so brilliant. It's like the word abracadabra. It's like we are in the point now where something in 1993 that was seen as magic, like that's so impossible, it's magic.
Yeah.
It's real. Like
I remember watching sci-fi movies as a kid, and they would have the video calls.
Yeah,
and it was like, people were like, that's impossible. That'll never happen. It's like we now do that on our phone. Like
I was just thinking that. I said we're talking before you came in too. We're the last generation that knows what it's like to not have an iPhone. Yeah. Like I remember getting home and like, oh, my girlfriend's gonna call me on my landline. I'm gonna go sit in the corner and talk. And,
hope your mom doesn't answer the phone, right?
It's on hold. You're on the fucking phone. Like I'm waiting for a babe to call. Please.
But that's it. That's abracadabra.
Yeah.
It's stuff we couldn't believe watching Star Wars. You're like, that's a hologram. That's fake. That's magic. It's like, where were you, I, and everybody else 25 minutes ago? We were calling someone on a video call. Abracadabra, man.
Yeah.
Digital heaven.
I forget who said it, the author, but any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Like it's actual magic.
That's how I felt about Bitcoin for a while. Walked around just like, this is magic. Like I was thinking, oh, then my life is hard. I'm like, wait, if I told any of my ancestors for the last hundreds of thousands of years, I think my life is tough, but I have this inviolable, hypermobile, metaphysical form of property that nobody can take if they kill me. Like they would just laugh in my face. They were talking about, Genghis Khan, the Mongolians. I'm like, what would these guys, what would it be like if you told someone, hey, check it out. Like, what if you could have gold, but it's invisible. You can't make any more of it. Nobody can take it from you.
It would be a magic. It would be a magic spell to them. It would be a magic spell.
Yeah.
Right.
And how it's basically every ancestor ever would have some use for this. Like you telling me you can put all the money that I have on my brain and go anywhere I want. Like, give me some of that.
Yeah. So I guess that was sort of a long-winded way for me to go back to the four
the
mega political implications, right? So you got topography, climate, microbes, and tech, right? So tech is the one that the authors really lean into in the sense that it's like, this is the future, and this is the most important.
It's the one what's the one we contribute most to changing?
Correct,
right?
Correct, and it's the most fluid,
and it affects the others a lot.
Bingo,
right?
So you've got something on the climatic front, on the topography front. It's like farmers in Greece were better off in year 500 than farmers in ancient Egypt were. Because why? Well, if you're in Greece and you have access to the Mediterranean through all of these little inlets, the farmers there were able to sell their goods at a profit. Versus the lever of violence is inverted when you live in a desert and you're the only farmer in the oasis, and all of a sudden your irrigation gets shut off. So that's very much still in a stable relationship in that front. It's like if you're landlocked versus if you're on a sea, well, you by definition, you're in a different position from a mega political perspective.
Yes.
Then you've got climatically, and you've got the propagation of cold weather, warm weather, where changes in 1 degree temperature make a difference in where the crops grow on the mountain. And it's like stuff like that again is wild. And the authors are able to tie these changes in average temperatures around the world from climate to periods of depravity, periods of starvation across time. So, you've got, I think it was the year 1700s before the Industrial Revolution, which was dirt poor, real wages falling faster than any point in history. It was also the coldest. So that has an impact on morale, of course, which you're not going to measure retrospectively 500 years later. But, on top of that, you've also got the fact that now crops are unable to grow or must grow 500 feet higher than they were before, as an example. Do you know what I mean? Or excuse me, I guess I got it backwards. But you know my point. My point is that you are now unable to grow crops as high as you were previously because it's colder. Well, therefore, that has an impact on your real wages if you're a farmer. Yeah. It has an impact on how much you can export. It has an impact on
where you live,
all of this stuff. You know, the rate of where foliage grows, all this stuff. Well, if it's colder, now the large herbivores, which you used to hunt as a hunter-gatherer, you can no longer hunt them because they've migrated.
Yeah.
So now you and your family must move. Otherwise, you don't eat. That's a pretty strong factor, you know.
This is interesting. Bitcoin, it'll make us less location dependent. Like the agricultural and industrial revolutions really glued us into particular jurisdictions or spots, and that is going to change over time.
There's another factor to that too that people have brought up, that Bitcoin mining sort of energizes that as well. It's like now anywhere you can find, you know, an unused waterfall or whatever the energy source is, like you could just live here. Like you don't need to even be tapped into a city or much of an like as long as you can just mine the Bitcoin from the power source and then sell the Bitcoin into the market, then you could be a self-sustaining little community right there.
No, Robert, you can be a
sovereign
individual.
There you go. But it's more, it's this incentive thing that's driving populations to disperse more and more. And that's it. I mean, it's fucking interesting, right? We can do a lot of our commerce online and digitally and non-local.
Yep.
We don't need to crowd ourselves into cities. And if we get flying cars and whatever else, it's like we're really going to be able to spread out. So I don't know. It's fascinating. And then again, that would be a case of technology radically changing social organization, right? Which changes governance structures and everything else.
And it prevents the levers of power from being used in such a concentrated way.
That's right.
So we've got the decentralization of the populace, who now you've got families who live behind a waterfall in rural Kenya or whatever. You're now, the nation state has now relegated itself to the tax collector of the Roman era.
Right.
Walk around.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come get my taxes. You can, but you're going to have to come.
The cost of enforcement has gone parabolic.
Significantly higher.
Yeah.
And the cost of protection
has gone down.
Decreased exponentially.
Yes.
Abracadabra.
It's a pincher maneuver on the state. It's just like, it's so fascinating to think.
Yeah, you know, I experienced that growing cannabis in Humboldt County. The reason Humboldt County was so good for growing cannabis while it was illegal is because it's in the middle of the woods. Dude, these people are hard to get to. It's hard to drive SWAT teams or sheriffs out to these properties, and
mountainous, right?
Hard to regulate.
Yeah. Hard to project power in those places.
Right.
What? Okay, so I was going to ask you something. Oh yeah, I think, do they use the term Luddites in the book? Is that what they?
Yeah, that's later, but it's really important as well. So I guess some context, and I'm not an expert of early 1800s English history, but in the 1800s, 1811, 1812, I believe, somebody can fact check me on that if they want, there was a series of high skill laborers in England called the Luddites. And what they did was they were cloth cutters. So they had a special skill, which let them use these special scissors to cut cloths into the size and they needed for specifications. So that allowed them to command a very high wage. So what happens? The levers of technology spin, and somebody in 1811, 1812 invents a machine for a job that is too simple not to be mechanized. And what happens? This machine can now do the job of these cloth cutters 8 times faster for 1/8 the cost. Well, now what happens? We have a series of Luddites, the book, as the book would say, the losers and left behinds, who are now in a position where their second level Maslow hierarchy of needs, their safety need, their job, their security is now at risk because they have now lost their jobs. Because what well thought through business acumen of a English person running a factory in 1800 would now say, you know, I'd rather employ these people for 8 times the cost to do 8 times less work. Well, now what happens? These Luddites uprise and start to riot and burn factories of company owners who are employing these machineries and essentially taking them out of a job. Well, what was the incentive behind that? These guys are uprising because their safety need has incentivized them to act. Now, here's the really interesting part in my mind, and you relay this in my mind perfectly to today's society. So, did those Luddites in 1811, 1812 uprise and start to riot the new technology that was invented at the same time for carpet cutting? Nope. because their jobs were not on the line at the carpet cutting factories, where the carpet cutting machinery also came into existence. No, they only were uprising against the cloth cutting factory owners. So now if you overlay that onto modern society, okay, you've got a group of people who may or may not be out of work because of AI. Like that's such a broad statement, but you guys get what I'm going at right here. How many jobs are we going to lose people doing data entry? Immeasurable.
Yeah.
Okay, so are those people going to uprise at the latest iPhone that came out that improves their life? No. So they're not
Good
uprising
point.
against technology broadly. They're uprising against, at the instinct of their safety need, no, my job is on the line. So that Luddite case study is so brilliant for things like that. And the point is where are we going? Well, with that uprise of AI and these people losing their data entry jobs, the likelihood of an increase in violence from the losers and left behinds, the hyper Pareto effect on the negative side of things, the people who are getting the short end of the stick, they are likely going to be incentivized to what? Become the new Luddites.
Yes.
Is the point.
Well, then the government needs to crack down with more control,
Well, I was going to say,
or at
there,
least
it's
attempt
like,
to.
well, as the top talent and capital is already moving into the jurisdictions where they are treated best, and you have losers and left behinds remaining, and crime is going up and productivity is going down, government intervenes more tax dollars, more taxation to try to, like, it literally implodes on itself. What's the quote you have here? Collapse is what happens when a centralized control system is no longer worth what it cost. Basically.
That's so profound.
And that's basically it. And again, with all this increase in our ability to vote with our feet or go where we're treated best or move all our purchasing power, it's like people and purchasing power have become hyper portable, and the state specializes in local territorial tyranny.
Monopolistic violence.
Yeah, one place, right? I need the cow to be a cow. And as they say in here, in the 21st century, the cows grow wings, basically.
So brilliant.
And so this is like it's such a fundamental game changer for social organization that it just, one epiphany after another.
And then one of the things that you said, the first time I heard it many years ago, I loved it, is this makes governments beholden to the preferences of its citizens.
Yeah.
As customers, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because they say on the streets, you better come correct if you got what I want.
Yeah.
You know?
Customer is king, right?
Yeah.
In every business in the world except centralized government, because centralized government has a money printer. If they can just print and paper over all their losses, why do they ever care if they're rendering customer satisfaction? They don't. They have no incentive to do.
They're not in a consensual relationship.
Exactly.
They have an, I think this is a line as well. I don't know if I have it here. Maybe I put it on the paper there, Robert. I don't know. But the government has a unlimited, there it is. I think I might be paraphrasing. The government has an unlimited partnership with your life. Unlimited in the sense that it's like, you have no choice. From the minute you're born, you are in a partnership.
Literally. Yeah.
With the nation state. Yeah. And that's why, again, I think this word of nation state is really important as opposed to saying government. Because it's like, I think the future of sovereign individuals.
Decentralized governance.
Exactly. Yeah. There will be a governing structure, but the government will be driven by its customers.
Yes.
I want my garbage picked up on Tuesday and Wednesday. The answer right now is, sorry, that's a bundled service. Please go vote in your next election or your next county, whatever, and maybe that'll change. Sorry, in the future, as a customer, I would like my government picked up, I would like my garbage picked up on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Same difference.
Right, yeah.
No, but it's important to make the distinction actually between government and nation state.
Yes.
Government, I just narrow it to make it very simple. Like government's opt-in, opt-out, right? A homeowners association is a little micro government basically, but you can always sell your house and opt out of it if you don't like the rules they're passing. A state is a predatory institution that has things like the exit tax and other things that you can't opt out of, right? You can't opt out of inflation prior to Bitcoin. And so that's the problem, right? Anytime you're playing a game that, hey, if you opt out of the game, I'm going to hurt you, well, then you're dealing with a mafia. You're not dealing with a business.
Racketeering.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where...
Not an honest business, at least.
Right, precisely. And so that's the, to that effect, to me, it's the rise of the micro nation state.
Yes.
For sovereign individuals to have a relationship with their future government on a consensual,
Yeah.
two-sided, both-sided benefiting relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, we would like to procure my garbage collection on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yes, there will be a service for that, and it's this much.
Yeah.
As opposed to government, nation state, a la table, as opposed to a la carte. This is a beautiful reference in my mind in the book is you've got historically, the historical precedent is nation state was a la table. You have no choice. You choose these services as a function of a vote in some municipal area. These are the services you receive because your vote is worth as much as everybody else's, which is fine. But we're coming to an era of digital heaven, of abracadabra, where, sorry, there's government a la carte. I don't want my garbage picked up at all. No problem. I'd like my garbage picked up Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday from July to October. And then when I live in Bermuda, I don't need my garbage picked up. What's the contract price?
It's negotiable.
It's business.
Yeah.
It's government. It's nation state treating its
Yes.
citizens as customers.
Which that model has to win out over time. I think Peterson says something along the lines of a game that you're being forced to play will never be as successful as a game that you're playing willingly because it takes energy to make people play something that they don't want to play. Something along those lines.
No, you're exactly right. It comes from Piaget. Talks about equilibrated versus disequilibrated games. And the disequilibrated game is one where you have to expend energy enforcing rules and protecting turf. Okay, that's a fiat system. Any closed source network where I have to or nation state system where I have to coerce you to play by the rules, basically. Whereas an open source system like Bitcoin is an equilibrated structure. The rule people are opting, it's opt in, opt out. You don't need to expend energy enforcing the rules because people opted into the rules, right? You don't need to defend the turf because it's open source. And so that it's economically more efficient than the predatory game. And that's why these open source networks always outcompete the closed source networks. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And so that's the world we're moving into. And it makes all the sense in the world, but it's such a monumental transition and we're so early. You know, we're 25 years into the digital age. I don't know, depending when you start counting. I mean, they start counting from the Berlin Wall, right?
Yeah,
so we're 35.
89, 35.
So we're 35-ish years in. Bitcoin, we're 17 years in.
Yep.
This is a 500-year thing. I'm not saying it's going to take 500
No,
years, but like it's going to last for probably 500 years.
This is like
that transition.
Well, the whole, like you're going from the rough analogy is like you're going from the agricultural age into the industrial age. But you're talking to a bunch of people that have never seen glass or steel or automobiles or skyscrapers. So it's like you don't even have the language. Like the world we're going into is so fundamentally different. We don't even have the language to talk about it.
We live in the world of microchip, but our culture is still spun on the loom.
Yes.
It is so brilliant out of that. It's like, yep, we're living there. It's like we're living in the abracadabra digital heaven future.
Yeah.
But we got people torquing the wrench to build their car. It's so where the agricultural revolution was a revolution in slow motion.
Yes.
It took from about 500 generations ago until about 500 years ago for the full mega political implications of the agricultural revolution to take hold. Then the industrial revolution went from, say, 250 years ago, and in 3 generations, we went from 1750 to, say, 1950, where much by that point of the factories, of the factory as a farm with a roof, that kind of mega political implications of the industrial era were implicated not in 500 generations, but in whatever, pick a number, 3, 4.
Right.
And now we're heading into this information era where the mega political implications will likely, again, to cite the
play
book,
out faster.
To cite what they say is the mega political implications of the information age will be felt in a lifetime.
Yes.
Which is wild.
And we're already feeling it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
There's several things two things at least. The book, The Rational Optimist, I don't know if you've ever seen this chart. It shows like GDP per capita for the past 5,000 years.
Yep.
It's basically flat. Like humans, like the first 5,000 years plus of our existence was like how to not starve to death.
Yep.
Like that was the name of the game. Then in the industrial age, right, 1750,
something.
whatever, GDP per capita explodes. Literally, it's flat forever, and then it goes fully vertical after the Industrial Revolution. So then we kind of figured out food, and now we deal with obesity and things like this.
Second order problems, externalities.
Yeah. So that's like, those are the types of changes you're talking about. It's like, wait, people, of course, thought starving to death was just the thing that you always did.
Yeah.
It's like what my ancestors have been doing since the beginning of times, like trying to not starve to death. That's what we're going to do forever. But things fundamentally changed in the industrial age, right? Like, not saying everywhere we still have starvation in the world, but largely in the developed world, that's a non-issue, right? The seed oils at McDonald's are deadlier than starvation now in the US, at least. So there's that sort of framing for what the transition looks like. The Luddites thing, I think this is really important too, because the left behinds, the losers, whatever you want to call these people, that starts to degenerate the nation into a more corrupt and criminal place. It's not like people can just sit around and be like, oh no, I'm in America. I've always been in America. I'm going to stay in America. I love America. My kids, like, it's all good here. That's not the option you're facing. It's not like just your preference of where you want to be. So like, do you want to move here not only to save taxes, as we've already alluded to, but it also becomes this like criminal element. It's like, how do I protect myself physically when the empire is collapsing and the barbarians are at the gate? It's like, where, people are facing these types of existential choices.
And so again, on the Maslow piece, are they on fire right now, Robert? The answer is they don't think they are. They are.
Yeah.
But they don't believe they are on fire. So until the Bitcoin black hole, bright orange future is water to them, I'm here. No, I'm me and my family. Working. Until the corruption, the extortion, the racketeering becomes such a I am on fire driver.
Yes.
And until buying a $80 wallet, hardware wallet, whatever you're into, like pick your solution, doesn't matter. Until the free market has made that solution water to you.
Yeah, and this is why it's so damn important to read again, because like I've heard it said that it's much more cost effective to learn from the mistakes of others. It's like you can study this history and study where we're going, and you can prepare yourself by reading and study. You don't need to catch on fire. You don't need to be fully blazed before you go look for the water.
Go ahead. I was going to say,
they're just saying like, trying to rush for the exit of a theater when someone yells fire. It's like, you want to get out that exit before someone yells fire. It's like,
you want to be prepared,
preemptive.
This is the Musashi thing. It's like be the warrior in the garden instead of the gardener in the war. Instead of being caught with your metaphorical pants down and going, I guess I have no money and I guess my pension has been inflated away. It's better to walk with your sword all the time and not have to use it. Nope, I've trained, I've educated myself. So maybe, to go back to the very beginning of this, maybe the best sales pitch I can craft for why to read The Sovereign Individual is that. It's like, by doing that, by making that effort of 21 hours of an audiobook, that's admittedly really hard, admittedly really dense, admittedly The Matrix. By doing that, you are arming yourself so that at least if you catch fire, you knew it was going to happen.
Yes. You'll at least know what's going on to some extent.
You go, oh yeah, I'm on fire.
Yeah.
There's the exit. I'm going to go now.
And what's more likely to happen is you're going to get orange pilled. You're going to move your savings into Bitcoin, and you're going to change the entire trajectory of your family's future. Your descendants, like they're all going to be so much better off because you took the 21 hours or whatever to figure this thing out.
And we're gonna look back at it in history in the same way. Again, the book cites this, that like the book talks about oaths and vows and things like that in the medieval era, and it's like the king making the choice in the medieval era to sleep naked behind enemy lines because it was his vow looks to us as irrational, as our great grandkids are going to look at us and go, what? The nation state? Like, you people, whatever, you went to war to do X, Y, Z, or do you know what I mean? Or these people were taxing you out of this and you didn't just leave? Like, it's going to look as irrational as sleeping naked behind the behind the enemy lines, or walking around with a leg iron as a method of self-imposed privation. Because, no, that is what I do.
Yes. It's like what was it? The redcoats, how they would fight with these very strict battle formations.
Okay.
And then the
guerrilla
American
warfare.
revolutionaries went guerrilla on them. It's like, at some point you just have to do what's strategically optimal.
You are incentivized.
Well, if you don't, you're going to die.
Precisely.
It's just natural. Again, it's Darwinian. It's like, it's the gunpowder thing. You either adopt this technology or you get conquered by people that did.
Precisely.
There's not like, I'm peaceful and I don't want to use this stuff. It's like, no, that's not an option here. It's not a viable option. And Bitcoin's the same. It's like, if you don't put your savings into this thing and optimize yourself, well, then you're going to get outcompeted by those that did.
Shilling point.
Yeah. So
say maybe it was you guys who talked about this singularity. It's like that's the singularity point.
Yeah.
And I don't know if in the next 5 years we're in that battle, but I think by the point we're at where our kids, I'm hoping and confident that we'll be at the point where enough people have been on fire where it's like, okay, I recognize that this is it. I recognize that I am incentivized to not go down the Darwinian path.
Yeah.
And I need to do this.
I think you're seeing this too. People are now, these are not Bitcoiners, but they're talking about the debasement trade.
Okay.
Like people are just trying to make trades to protect themselves from monetary debasement or inflation. And so this narrative is getting out, right? Like people are understanding that, oh wait, the money is a scam. I need to trade strategically or invest strategically to avoid the scam or exit the scam.
To this is the hard asset argument?
Yeah, these are gold, these are whatever, gold, equities, games, whatever. These people are trying to do things to basically out trade debasement. But like, okay, follow that line of thinking. I know where you're headed.
It's a start, man.
I know where you're going. Yep. We all know where you're going to end up.
Yep.
But so the point is like, you can't keep this scam going in the information age. Like the idea of centrally planned and controlled money and we're going to print money to fix things, like 25 years from now, kids are not going to buy that shit. There's no fucking way. There's no way.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the same thing as sleeping behind the enemy lines, like you said. Like no one's going to believe that.
It's going to look like a leg iron.
Yeah.
And we're in a position where our kids, I was telling you this, Eric, before we started too. It's like we live in a world now where we as millennials are the bridge in the sense that we know a world, we grew up without a cell phone. And so we have some moral grounding in the way that our parents and grandparents would have. But in 15 years, we're going to be in a position where our kids and nobody else's kids can imagine a world without Minecraft, as an example. It's like, what? So to them, the abracadabra moment is not so magical. To us, pre-Matrix, pre-cell phone was like, what? That's a hologram. That'll never happen. But they won't live in a world like that. It's like the toothpaste out of the tube, the genie's out of the bottle. Yeah. It would be incomprehensible to live in a world that we used to live in. And that was in one generation.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, my daughter, she'll be 4 in January. She'll come up to me sometimes and she'll say, hey, I want this thing. Can you order it for me, please, with your phone? Just order it from your phone right now. Just like, please. This package just come at the door. Did you order that thing for me?
I remember you guys are having the talks about money around that time. Right?
Yeah.
We have to work and earn this stuff. We just
versus us at 10. It's like, Mom, can we go to the store?
Yeah.
I've got a phone coming on the landline. You're 13, you're waiting for your first girlfriend to call you. It's like, Mom, don't pick up the phone between 7 and 7:15. It's a fundamentally 101 different world. But to complete my point, it's like, we're the bridge.
Yeah.
We're the bridge. Gen X, to my mind, is not in that position that we are.
Yeah,
and the generation younger than us is not in the position we are. In my mind, we're the perfect age. We have a one-time shot at this to help bridge that gap between people one generation older than us and our own families in the future. It's like, no. This is why this is important. We can tell you about the world with corruption and extortion and blah, 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 blah. And then in positive hope and optimism that in 15 years, it will be so natural to them. It's like, we just have a multi-sig set up.
One of my highest health priorities is keeping my brain in top shape. To take care of my brain power, I do many things, such as striving to read, write, exercise, and meditate daily. One of the latest tools in my brain power toolkit is Mind Lab Pro. MindLab Pro is a nootropic supplement that is scientifically proven to enhance your brain power. When I take MindLab Pro, my mind feels like it has a better grip on the world, my thinking is more lucid, and the articulation of my speech is radically improved. MindLab Pro has been tested in rigorous, double-blind, placebo-controlled human trials and has been proven to enhance brain power for users in every age group. MindLab Pro is an advanced formulation of 11 nootropic ingredients and is backed by research from over 1,400 human trials conducted over the past 32 years. So if you're looking to enhance your brain power, MindLab Pro is an excellent solution. Go to mindlabpro.com/breedlove to start enhancing your brain power today. Again, that's mindlabpro.com/breedlove. Yeah, we have a foot in both worlds, right? Because we're pre-digital and post-digital.
Yep.
And no other generation is that, obviously.
Right.
And so it does seem interesting. I think millennials are probably the biggest Bitcoiner cohort too. I
imagine.
I would guess. I've never seen anything on that, but most of the Bitcoiners I know are millennials.
And that's probably fair enough. And I think that's probably a function of the bridge
Yeah.
being in both generations, but also probably being at that age where now we're not 22. We've had some life XP. We've had some career XP, and now excuse me.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, and we have some capacity to be able to take $100 a month and put it into this instead of saying, having an advisor say you should put that into your retirement savings, or whatever, right? But
you mentioned moral compass. Actually, I want to ask you more about this. So, talk about this Boothian natural economy versus the political economy, and the market as the great arbiter. This is one of the most profound things, is that it's a lot to absorb, but this idea that Bitcoin makes the nation state or governance structures more broadly start to act like free market participants, right? They can no longer act like just coercive top-down medieval institutions. They actually now need to compete with one another because people are so hypermobile, purchasing power is so hypermobile. They now need to compete to be of good service to their citizens and customers. Yep. And that fundamentally changes the game. So how does Booth's thesis fit into that, this movement from like a political economy into a natural economy?
Now,
or a free market economy, if you want to use that term.
Now, again, I could never do the service to this guy, to Jeff, that he deserves in that sense, because he's so profound, but I'll do my best. In my mind, the way I see this is that now we're in a position, and the book references the rise of cyber warfare as an example. So, okay, you now have somebody who could be as small as a single individual create cyber warfare, hacking, blackmail, against an agent as large as a nation state. What's that mean? It's like, so before, war was conceived as nation and nation. Yeah. Before that, war could be conceived as faction on faction, or tribe on tribe, or monarch on magnate, smaller scale. We're at the position now where war went from a small scale in that medieval world where knight or local magnate, like the Polish king the book talks about, can try to raise warfare against another local magnate. But then through the Industrial Revolution, we had the rise of the French with the nationalization of the language, which is a whole nother beautiful piece of this book, talking about how language really was the facilitating function for the French army rising, because if you were speaking different languages or different dialects of French, you can't use propaganda. But where I was going with this is, it's like, okay, now we're in the position where a single actor can perform cyber warfare against a nation state, against whatever, pick your large nation state institution. So, okay.
It's the ultimate asymmetric warfare.
Precisely. Yeah. So but now, so the nation state is incentivized to treat those as terrorists, actors, whatever. So to come full swing on the Boothian piece here, on the Boothian theory, is like, okay, so now the nation state has no choice but to treat each individual with the respect such that that individual could be prepared and be walking with their sword, such that the market, the nation state, should treat them as customers, Because at the very least, on the positive or the negative side, as you mentioned earlier, Robert, by definition, if the nation state treats its citizens as customers, by definition, those top 1%ers are going to be more likely to stay instead of go to digital heaven and move to Bermuda. So that's a positive on that side, for the Boothian side, that the political economy is disintegrating and becoming the natural economy. But you've also got the defensive side of that, such that you've got an agent, whether it's North Korea, one person, a kid with a computer, like you've got a kid who's wicked with code and an AI agent. That agent, as a single actor, has the capacity to defend himself from predatory extortion, taxation, etc., but also has the capacity such that that individual could perform an attack as large a cyber attack on the nation state at large anyways. So the forcing function of that is treat your citizens
Yes.
as...
Yeah, and then I think there's another piece to this. Maybe it's like, because the component that came to mind for me was you can now take out one of these $25 million fighter jets with a $1,000 drone. Right?
Wow.
So there's a whole other asymmetric thing there. It's like, oh, we've invested so much in this air power and air superiority, and that lets us dominate the world with aircraft carriers. But now with the rise of drones, your 25 million per fighter jet investment all of a sudden can get neutralized pretty quick by, a guerrilla actor, basically. So there's this whole, and the drone thing is actually very scary if you go down that rabbit hole. It's like the idea of Chinese actual cyber hornets, basically. Hopefully we get to kind of a Bitcoinized sovereign individual world before we start waging war on one another with those things.
I think it's actually a natural progression that both have to happen.
Yeah.
We have the Moore's Law and we have the George Gilder with the bandwidth. It's like, so by definition, when the bandwidth goes up, when the microprocessing power goes up, you're going to have both. You're going to have the rise of Satoshi and the greatest asset or the greatest invention, the greatest, whatever you want to call it, of human existence. But you also are going to have people who are going to pull the levers of power because they can get, like we talked about, Eric, one-sided benefit.
Yeah.
They can take advantage of somebody or a nation or whatever for one-sided benefit. That's racketeering, that's coercion, that's extortion, that's blackmail. So, but necessarily as a function in my mind of moving through both of those processes, the end result is the black hole, orange vacuum, bright orange future.
All roads lead to Bitcoin.
Orange portal.
Orange portal, here it is.
Yeah.
It's because those people who are able to then create these mini drones that can defend themselves are right now using it for nefarious purposes. But if they are incentivized appropriately, the Roman tax collector comes to walk by and take the Roman tax, attempt to take the Roman tax from the guy living behind the waterfall. Is he going to do it? Not when defensive weapons technology in the form of both multisig, in the form of hardware encryption, private public key encryption, and defense technologies such as that exist. When the farmer in the Civil War era was as likely and as capable of defending himself as the British soldier, you had peace, decentralization, prosperity. But in the year 1100 or 1000, when you had an armed knight on horseback with a war horse, and the farmer has a pitchfork and can't trade his 7 sheep he owns for half of a war horse, power expands. This is the mega political levers of violence the book goes so deep on.
Yeah, and then gunpowder flipped that, right?
Gunpowder, exactly.
Then once the farmer had a rifle, because the knight on horseback could kill 50 peasants, no problem. It was like the peasants.
He was incentivized to.
And he's incentivized to. He was more or less the tax collector basically at the time, right? And then you get gunpowder, all of a sudden one peasant can take out an armed knight on horseback from 100 yards away. And what quickly happens after that is the medieval church loses its martial wing, which are the knights. And
it loses its ability to project power.
Exactly.
At scale. This is poignant based on what we talked about before. The book makes a beautiful reference to the idea of the scale of power projection versus the efficiency of power projection. So absolute magnitude as opposed to power
Cost per
efficiency.
capita,
Precisely. So the reference the book makes, which is wild, we're going to go here, but is the idea between the sumo wrestler and the gymnast. Okay, so a sumo wrestler is incentivized to be as large as possible because in a sumo wrestling match, magnitude matters more than efficiency. Meaning, if you're the 195-pound athlete, that matters a lot less against the 350-pound sumo wrestler, where magnitude of power is important. But if you're the 350-pound sumo wrestler on a set of Olympic gymnast rings, what happens? In a gymnast rings contest.
Broken rings.
Right, yeah. You end up where the gymnast who's 5'7", 165 pounds and built like a little brick shed.
Yeah.
That guy who is all muscle and is 6% body fat in a contest like the gymnastics rings, the economy or the efficiency of power projection matters more than the magnitude of power projection.
Yes.
So in medieval period, where the horseback or the sailing ship of the French Revolution had the power to command massive armies, magnitude was essential. Magnitude was the lever that was pulled, the mega-political lever that was pulled to expand the scale of the nation-state. But now, with microtechnology, with the expansion, George Gilder, of bandwidth, we're in a position now where the gymnast has wings, man. The gymnast, the efficiency of said power projection, the economy of said power
it's almost another way of talking about the transition from a political economy to a free market economy or natural economy is from magnitude to efficiency.
Right.
Because, I mean, there are situations where, magnitude matters when it's just an outright power, like collision power struggle.
Totally.
But the efficiency starts to matter once there's nuance, right? Or
so what happens then? Does the sumo wrestler, the nation state, get all Hulk-like and just fuck everything up? Just throw the chessboard? Are we in for some? I guess what I've been thinking as you're talking, I'm thinking of Lowry's thesis. Yeah. Are we in for one more peak blow off, like kinetic, bloody, tumultuous battle as a civilization before we move into an era of soft war?
I think that's the scale of violence piece, and to me, that's the drone piece. Is like I think the book makes the thesis that the quantity and consistency of violence, by definition, goes up. Meaning, violence happens more often, but at a much smaller scale. Meaning, and this is maybe an anti-fragile piece, is like maybe it's the fact that we no longer have violence, extortion, coercion at a steady state. We now have small actors able to defend themselves with their metaphorical sword of multisig, and the capacity for violence might increase. But in my mind, based on what this reading would tell me, is like, my estimate on that would be like, no, we're in the case where the quantity and consistency of violence will go up, but on a smaller scale.
Yeah,
I like hearing that because I definitely spend some time thinking about what are the next 20,
catastrophizing
30 years look like, And
Safety's done some good work on this where he talks about there's already a very large private defense sector. People use private security and it's growing rapidly. And I think we just move more towards that world, right? You have less centralized violence, right? Less warfare, but you have smaller police forces and these things provided by government. So therefore you need more private security. You might have more localized turbulence, but it could just be normal in 25 to 50 years. Be like, I pay into a pool and we have security and they roam the area and that's the thing. Versus now we just, most people just pay their taxes and just hope the cops will come.
You're paying for your protection service now. It's like the cost of the nation state, as where the nation state's economic function is protection.
Yes.
The stats the book brings up is that the nation state is spending about 10% of its total budget on things like military, jails, police. That's the protection function, arguably the economic service that the nation state should be providing. 10%. So the other
exactly.
90% is slack, inefficiency. My point is to tie this back to the medieval period again. Well, it was very common in the medieval period where a merchant would go to sell his goods. And when he was walking along the Silk Road or whatever to go get customers and to sell his services, he would have private security that he would be happy to pay for, because the merchant couldn't defend himself with his cart of goods from bandits that could be stolen. So he would have private protection services. And the protection, ironically, was not just physical. Protection in the sense that, yes, he can protect himself physically, but also protection from predatory taxation. So that somebody says, I'll let you pass this barrier, but I've got a magical or a metaphorical AK-47. You don't go past this police station unless I get 10% of your cart.
Yeah. Yeah, the gatekeeping. That's basically... And it's a tale as old as time. Like humans have always done that. Anytime you can control a key access point or, a port, whatever the thing may be, it's like people are always taking a skim.
Take your cut.
Yeah. And now what are we talking about in the digital age? Like you're reducing the opportunities for people to take their cut.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. The age of the middleman, in my mind, is starting to wane.
Yes.
Yeah, I think of the Sailor series in the Venetian port.
Yeah.
You roll in, they say, I want half. You say, no, thank you. They get 100%.
Yeah.
You got Bitcoin. They kill you, they get nothing.
Yes.
And it's one step further than this. And I think it's a point, I'm not going to take credit for this. I think this is what he said in your series, Robert, as well, is like, no, not only do I now have the ability to protect myself and my family, but now even when I pass, I have the ability to set up my multi-sig setup such that it automatically passes to my kids after I pass. So are you a hologram? Well, you're actually, by the time you're finished a third dimensional reality, you can still act, and you can still act morally. This gets into pieces like crazy pieces too, like people who try to leverage and extort their elders on wills, estates. Think about that. How many people... And I looked very briefly, I wanted to go deeper down the rabbit hole, but maybe this is a next time thing in my mind, is like the percentage of people that will take advantage of elderly people for their wills, estates, to pull the levers of violence.
I saw a clip on X within the last 6 to 12 months. A woman got arrested somewhere, I want to say in South America. Weekend at Bernie's, dude. She wheeled her dead relative into a bank and tried to get him to sign the papers with his body. The video footage is on X.
Wow.
She's like trying to get him, hey, she got arrested, obviously. They figured it out.
With his hand?
With his hand, yes, his dead body.
What the fuck?
But
Weekend at Bernie's.
The point is that the levers of power.
Yeah, dude.
Eric, that was wild. It's so much in my mind, though. That's where some of these levers can be neutralized. If you as an actor have a multi-sig setup and you have 3 kids and you've determined at your 58th birthday or whatever, you're like, okay, 30% of my stack or 20% of my stack goes to my wife, 20% goes to kid 1, 20 to kid, whatever you want. Like your choice, yours. There's just no arguing. Like, what are you going to do? Like, this is my estate.
Yeah.
You can no longer be extorted or corrupted, or it's like you're 85. It's like, go ahead, you can change a will or whatever, but can the estate lawyer flip the cryptographic keys to change your distribution allocation? You can act when you're dead.
Yeah, this is you can project your will beyond the grave, basically, and it's again, these things are such a big deal. Like they change everything.
It makes the individual so powerful.
Thus, it makes them so
sovereign.
Makes me think
free.
of you, Sailor, American Hodl, Kaysen, and Valis did a conversation as Sailors, and Sailor said something that I'll never forget. I think about it often. The overlords, and I don't think he used this words, but the powerful people have contempt for the weak. And now if you have Bitcoin, you're powerful and you're respected. That always stuck out to me. It's like, I find it actually, it's interesting. I find it in myself in moments where I'm like going through life and I see people that are kind of like fat and struggling or doing their thing. And it's like, I have that feeling at times of being insensitive.
Yeah.
You scale that on up to being, a proverbial overlord. I can see that. They're like, all these weak, stupid fucking peasants. Let's just get rid of 7.5 billion of them. Like, I almost understand how you could slip into that thought process.
I've also struggled with that a bit. And then you layer in the fact that they're paid, right? The estate tax is paid every time someone dies and assets are moved. So it's like there's an incentive. Not only is there maybe just a contempt that, comes from people, but there's also an incentive to like, oh, I'll just kill these people and get paid. It's a really fucked up system.
When
like statism is not healthy for the human race, basically.
and maybe I've read this flipping book so many times, man, but this is like where I can pull from this stuff is like when violence pays,
Yes,
people will resort to violence. Like it's
100%.
It's a 1-to-1.
People do whatever's profitable.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. Like,
No.
What I often get upset with is people demonizing profits per se, whereas profits are just a signal that you've solved a problem in an economically efficient way. And that's drawing other competitors to come into the space and bid down prices and bid up quality. Like that's all good. It's a matter of how you derived those profits. Was it consensual trade or was it coercion?
It has a good and a bad manifestation. It has the manifestation of the merchant as the great collaborator and the conqueror, the great negative. So you can project your power and take a profit as a merchant where your interests are on collaborative competition, as cited in the book, where by definition, if I am a merchant, I want you to be my customer today, and I want you to be my customer for the long term. So not only do I care about giving you a fair deal now, so you'll buy the coffee for me for $2 now, but I care about your health into the long term such that you can return and repeat business for me, versus the conqueror who says, I will extort you. I will pull the one-sided levers of power to take from you now. And that, in my mind, is what you just referenced, Robert, on the wills, on the estates.
Yes.
It's like, nope, I have to do this now because I get my cut. I get my cut.
Yeah, it's a zero-sum game versus the positive-sum game of the merchant.
Synergistic.
Yeah, and so what are you doing with Bitcoin is like lowering the cost of defending your purchasing power, which is another way of saying increasing or decreasing the profitability of coercion. And then you're tilting people to be more merchant-like and less conqueror-like.
Big time.
And this is what's so mind-blowing. It's like, well, and it's an unknown, right? Again, we're early, but it seems to me that people are very responsive to incentives. And if we were going to do anything to get people to be more cooperative and less coercive toward one another, that fixing the money like this is the number one thing you could do. I can't imagine anything other than like hacking people's brain and changing their neurobiology somehow, which has got all kinds of weird ethical implications. And like, if people could do that, they probably wouldn't do it to make us better. They'd do it to make us worse or whatever. So like, I can't think of anything more impactful than just changing the material incentives in a fundamental way like this.
We live in the era of the microchip, but our dreams are still spun on the loom.
Yeah. That reminded me of, I always cite this, but the problem with the human race is we have Paleolithic emotions, medieval institutions, and godlike technologies.
Wow.
But the technology in the digital age is more godlike than ever. Like
It's magic.
It's magic. It's heavenly.
Cadabra, man.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
It's
what is the Gentleman's Club of Cyberspace?
This is in the afterword. So the preface and the afterword of this book are typically in books. I'll sometimes be like, it's the preface. It's somebody paying tribute to the author, which is fine. But the preface and the afterword of Sovereign Individual, I think, are really, really good. And in fairness, this is like, if you have the 96 version, I don't think it'll have this. This is the 2020 rewrite or something that has the preface and the afterword in it. But the preface talks about two pieces, and that's the angel and devil, or the good and the bad of this technology piece. And in the preface, prophetically speaking, it talks about the rise of cybercash, being Bitcoin in my world, but also the rise of AI, meaning the rise of cybercash being the primordial good and the rise of AI being the weapons tech, the primordial evil, the China, the tool that China's leaning into with the DeepSeek and all that stuff is the AI. And then on the positive side, it's like, nope, but we have private public key encryption, which will win, period. On the afterword, it talks about some of the implications of where in the 2020, the sovereign individual pieces are slated to go, and one of them is these private gentlemen clubs or gentlemen's clubs in cyberspace, and the idea that I don't know if you gentlemen have done any looking into Praxis as a small sovereign microstate now. So it's like Praxis, as far as I haven't done.
I love the name though.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's Praxis, as far as I've understand, is a small gentlemen's club, private club, where you can essentially buy yourself a membership, and that grants you access to this small parcel of land. From my understanding, you get a little silver passport, and you have exclusive access to these grounds in this area, such as a network, like a business club would be. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you're part of this business club, which by paying your membership fees, golf club, whatever you want to call it, right? But gets you access to this cyberspace club. So if Praxis, as one example, is the one I've seen, I'm sure there are others, or I'm sure there are set to be more, sets us up so that we're in a position where it's like, okay, you've got people who are incentivized to join these clubs. You now have people who can join these clubs, and if they're tax efficient or whatever, can set themselves up with the benefits of a business club. You get access to this network of people where you can chit chat and develop your business, develop your life. But you're also doing so in a way that sets yourself up to be more sovereign in a sovereign microstate. So will these nations start to bid off small portions of their land to exactly into these small enclaves?
Well, they'll have to, right? If the tax base is collapsing and you're left with just a bunch of Luddites and losers, like you have to start.
And the nation state is impoverished, extravagant, and grasping. You've got the 1500s Holy Mother Church situation again, where we're poor. We must print money. We're out of money. We must incentivize things like indulgences, so the clergymen can, engage in unspeakable acts that are against their own religion, but we can tax it. Yeah. Right. So if the nation state is impoverished, extravagant, and grasping, and $37 trillion in debt or more every whatever. And I'm not picking on this, right? The point is, like, every nation state is doing this. Yeah. Right.
Central banking has destroyed every nation state. Not, again, radically empowered them over time, but it's like the same thing. You're squeezing
the Play-Doh out.
People now, the cows have wings, and you're just everyone's gonna slip between the fingers.
So can you be a sovereign individual and join a small microstate in the future? I think that's where we're going in the future.
And dude, you're so right. I never thought about this, but they're gonna have to sell those. They're gonna have to sell plots of land. When your revenue is collapsing and your ability to defend your territory is collapsing, at some point someone's gonna be like, "Hey, just sell that shit. Like, we can't even defend it as it is. They're willing to pay us for it."
You think so?
Yeah.
This group of 50 people who can then issue their own stamps, their own passports.
Yeah.
Hey.
The other thing, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No problem.
The example in the book, they talk about when Soviet Russia went bankrupt, right? It fragmented into like 30 previously conquered countries.
Yep. Really?
Yeah. So when the centralized power projection system collapses, then
you end up with Yugoslavia and all of these.
So in the States, do you think that the federal government is eventually going to collapse?
I think all federal central governments worldwide are going to collapse and go bankrupt,
and then we'll
government becomes local again.
Yeah,
it all, in my mind, just to rephrase slightly, all nation states collapse to the scale at which they can operate and treat their
as
citizens customers.
Exactly.
That distinction between government and nation state is really
important.
I don't know that I've actually integrated that thought.
We have a toxic relationship with that word. Like we have what the book describes as inarticulate disdain, which is so beautiful. It's like inarticulate. We can't describe it, but it's just like
for government.
Gross.
Yeah. It's the DMV at scale.
But it's like, to me, that word has the wrong. We've associated that inarticulate disdain with government. When to me that word should be the nation state.
Yeah, because if you had an
100%.
apocalyptic Mad Max scenario, immediately people would band together in local little areas and they'd be like, hey, let's get that guy who knows about roads and that guy, and we'll pool capital, and you'd end up with some little governing body very quickly. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's the nation state that's the issue.
Do we think of our relationship with, I'm using the Starbucks, but whatever, pick your vendor. Do you think of that as burdensome? No. It's like you don't think of your relationship with the artist.
Take your
or the
business
person.
elsewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You choose to take your business as a customer and use whatever you want.
Yeah.
You want to buy a car, you want to buy a painting, you want to buy a $2 coffee, go ahead. But you have a consensual relationship with that merchant who is collaboratively competitive and incentivized to give you good service, and therefore you volitionally choose to engage with them.
Yes.
Versus inarticulate disdain towards the nation state of like, we speak of a tax burden. You don't think of a coffee burden or a food burden.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, it won't even be taxation anymore, right? Like if we move
Service provider
from the nation state paradigm to this paradigm of free city states or whatever we want to call it. I think in the book they say, we have like 200 nation states today. They think we're moving towards a world of like 20,000 free city states.
Wow.
In that world, those free city states will not collect taxes. They will have, I don't know, security fees or whatever. They'll have
business
here's
services.
the pricing.
They'll have business, a menu, right?
A menu. You'll probably have to stake some Bitcoin with them or something, right? And then maybe they'll just draw off the Bitcoin as the days you're present or whatever the thing may be.
It will be government at a scale appropriate to that which serves its customers.
And way back to your earlier point about the trash pickup, it's like government as a service.
Yes.
So you subscribe and you get what you pay for.
You get and you choose what you want.
Yes.
You want your garbage picked up Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday only from July to October, please.
Yeah.
Government a la carte instead of nation state a la carte, not nation state a la table.
Yeah, and at that point, it's not even nation state anymore, right? It just becomes government.
Micro-sovereignty.
Because you can opt out.
So that $5,000 hypothetical tax burden compounded at 10% to create $2.2 million of wealth. So would you take $2.2 million and move to Bermuda? It's like, I think we're watching it happen, man, in real time. Like we're slowly, gradually, suddenly we're watching that happen. It's just going to happen within our lifetimes. So with us, the three of us, and I don't mean the three of us exclusively, but I mean our generation as the bridge. In my mind, it's our moral responsibility to our families to be a bridge and educate. It's like, become a sovereign individual.
Yeah.
Here's digital heaven. Here's our family's 3 of 7. Mm-hmm. We have an enclave here. We have an enclave here. We have an enclave here.
Yeah. It's a beautiful vision too. It ties into the BTC, be the change, right? Like
I love that.
Actually just become the change you'd like to see in the world. I would love to see this world. I'd love to see this world. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
So much more abundance, so much more freedom, so much less violence, so much less bullshit. Probably no war. I mean, no war.
Not in the way we think of it.
World War I and World War II would not happen in that world, right? You might have conflict between groups, but it's small, it's local, it's quickly resolved. It's not money printer funded, so you don't get infinity war. And, the sky's the limit. There is no upper bound on human ingenuity and innovation.
Precisely.
We're holding ourselves back by trying to steal from one another and tyrannize one another.
And when I think about all of these things, I actually, I oscillate back and forth from times of being like really concerned about the future and then kind of really excited. And I guess this is one of those moments where if you look at the world that we built today on broken incentives, an incentive to violence, it's actually a pretty good world.
Yeah.
It's a very hopeful thought when you think about like we have an incentive to violence, but people default to doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Whatever percent, 99.9%.
Yeah.
That's
Well, there's also a large incentive to cooperate, right? Obviously, the social division of labor and like it pays to live in a market economy when I can go to the grocery store and give you $20 a pound. Well, now $30 a pound for steak.
Yep.
Versus, let me have all my own cows and make my own clothes and do all these things like in a subsistence fashion. Mm-hmm. So there's always been that kind of tension between the two, the profitability of coercion or the profitability of cooperation. And Bitcoin's just sort of like tilting it really far towards cooperation.
in favor of the two-sided benefit, the merchant,
Yes.
the collaborative competition
Exactly.
instead of the one-sided dictator, the conqueror.
Yes.
So the conqueror is losing his sword,
Yeah.
and the sovereign individuals of the future are learning, training the ways in training.
The ways in
Roberts,
training, my
are learning
favorite
and
line.
training to become sovereign.
Let's see. You have so many good quotes on this sheet of paper. I figured we could hit a few. This is this is probably the most legendary one from the book. The nation state has become accustomed to treating its citizens as a farmer treats his cows, an asset to be milked. Now the cows have grown wings. Again, just alluding to the digital high seas or digital heaven, whatever you want to call
Wrote
it.
this? This guy. What's he doing today?
There's a great question.
Two guys. Lord William passed away, right?
Good question.
One of them passed away because I had James on the show.
Oh, did you?
I think Lord William Rees-Mogg was passed away. I think I had James on once or twice.
Was he wearing an "I told you so" shirt?
No, he was so humble about it, man. I was like, he should be way more like, I told you so.
Yeah.
But he was
Hey,
very,
stack and be humble. People,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
people forget about on the moral side.
Yeah.
People forget about that all the time, and
Yeah.
it's like we talked about this a little bit too. It's it's very easy to get yourself riled up in the like, oh my God, 40% of my net worth since October has evaporated. But it's like, no. I think people are they get the first part when even once you've entered the vacuum, the BTC vacuum, you get the first part. You're like, yeah, stack. Let me sell this chair.
Yeah.
Stack. But they forget the second part or the first part. Stay humble, man. It's
Yeah.
100%.
everything.
Otherwise, you REKT, you get wrecked.
Exactly.
It's
This one's pretty good. The nation state is a grossly expensive imagined community.
it's some of these like I'm so glad I put these here because some of them like they speak for themselves in so many like in such a better way than I think the three of us could ever articulate. And like
Yes.
my hope is that after somebody watches this, is they're incentivized to pick this damn thing up and read it.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, they can make some sense of some of these quotes and be like, okay, I get it now. In a
Yes.
way that's probably more profound than the three of us could spend an hour going through one of those.
Yeah.
If you want to, we can. But it's,
No. I mean, this book is clearly, it's not a classic yet, but man, it's just so germane to the world we're living in.
Yeah.
I struggle to think of a book that could explain to you better in one book, like what's going on in the world today.
Bingo.
That's my number one pick.
Bingo.
For sure. So, I love this one. They're quoting someone else here, but I cite this quote a lot. I don't know who said it. An election is an advanced auction of stolen goods.
H.R. Mencken is who they cite in the book.
That's Mencken. Yeah,
Mencken,
that sounds right. But again, we've become so hypnotized by democracy. We think this is like the greatest thing we've ever created. And it's just another fucking scam. Like, the popularity contest for the guy that's going to steal from me. It's like,
Yes, democracy, as defined in the Greek times, where there was sortition, where there was randomness to it, had more merits in that case. But now it's like democracy has devolved into, and it's just incompatible. Like the answer is now it's like we're voting. The authors make the argument. It's like, right now, we vote in jurisdictions or whatever based in that had historical precedent on the idea that people in this jurisdiction were all farmers and would have collective interests. But the authors make the argument, and it's so beautiful to me. It's like, well, why don't we just do it by last names? Or why aren't we just doing it by this? So on the bright orange future, it's like, is there a way in the future where votes for potential future nation states can be done via sortition and electronically, such that there's none of this scamming and there's none of the pre-voting or the paper voting or whatever, right? It's like, can that be done in our digital future? I don't see any reason why it couldn't.
I spoke with somebody who can do it in, I believe it's either through open timestamps or op return. They did an election. I want to say it's in Argentina. So anyways, there are people who are working on putting elections on the Bitcoin
Very
network.
interesting.
yeah.
And again,
And just
Go
on
ahead,
that, it's like, I don't know the optimal governance structure,
No, I
but
get
we just need competition to figure that out. That's the whole point of competition, is to discover what business model suits the customer's needs most.
Yep.
But this idea that people are just hypnotized and fixated on democracy. Have you ever seen this where the local news anchors are like, and that's a real threat to our democracy. Like they're literally just reciting it, and it shows like all these different local news anchors across the country reciting it verbatim, word for word. It's like it's become a social engineering propaganda tool that democracy is the greatest thing ever. We weren't founded as a democracy. This country's founded as a constitutional republic. But somehow, I don't know, it's like part of the propaganda machine that we're all now democracy focused.
There's a line from some hip hop group from Vancouver, Sweatshop Union, and it's one of their songs. I love the song. It's like the beginning. It's like, if democracy is so good, why are we running it all over the world, ramming it down people's throats?
Exactly.
Yeah,
spreading democracy by dropping bombs. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Wild.
Here's one thread I wanted to pull on that, if you don't mind. Was the book goes into great length, and I love this. And in my mind, in the future, micro sovereignties, micro nation state sovereignty, it's like our political apparatus has been set up such that there is government by not merit right now. But every private institution is set up such that the highest order executives are chosen on merit before some of the culture war stuff. Do you know what I mean? But like, it's like, so what happens, the book go down this thought experiment. It's like, what happens if in the future, micro sovereignties are no longer run by a personality all around the world? Pick your person, they're all personalities, right? Or a doctor or a lawyer. It's like, no. This democracy, this, I have to use my words, this nation state, this micro nation is now run by the most competent person. And look at what Lee Kuan Yew did in the 80s in Singapore. His government was compensated based on economic returns and performance.
Alignment of incentives.
So what happens now? Now you have Singapore as a sovereign microstate inside that Malay, Indonesia area. It is widely regarded as one of the best places in the world to do business. It is a sovereign micronation with the highest, as far as I know, I could be wrong about this, somebody might fact check me, but the highest entry barrier for a digital nomad visa. They have one. You can buy citizenship or permanent residence in Singapore to the order of, I think it's 10 million USD.
Wow.
Because Singapore is widely regarded as one of the freest, most open for business micronations in the world. And what Lee Kuan Yew did was he tied government ministerial salaries to economic performance.
Makes all the sense
what happens?
in the world.
There's a fixed component to their wage, and he did this across the economy from my understanding of his flexi wage program. So you've got...
What is the flexi wage program?
This is the program he instituted when he was running Singapore. And what he instituted was, okay, everybody from ministerial to private sector as well. You have your salary, which in most people, by the way, is binary. We could talk about incentives on that as well in a moment, versus the entrepreneur who's incentivized to produce more and produce more profit, versus the binary person who, if
Salary,
you have
no salary.
Salary, no salary. You are in a binary, in a salary role, you are in a position where you are de-incentivized by definition, or incentivized by definition to perform the lowest quality work you can without being fired.
Yes.
Because your salary is the same.
Of course.
Same.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I was pulling this all around to Lee Kuan Yew. So, on the ministerial front and on the private sector, your salary, if you want to call it that, in the flexi wage program was divided into a fixed component and a performance component. And this is, I think it's in the mid-80s he started this. So, okay, the Singapore economy goes to hell in a handbasket. You retain your fixed component of your salary, but you eat it a little bit. The economic performance of Singapore drops, you got to eat it a bit. Everybody, from the person running the country to the person working at the dollar store, so to speak. And then when Singapore does well,
They all participate.
the opposite happens. And look what's happened in, again, I wish I understood Singapore better, but as a case study, Singapore is a sovereign micro nation with one of the best business economies in the world. Partially, in my mind, because Lee Kuan Yew tied, and again, the book talks about this at length, they tied the incentives of the government salaries to performance. Watch the Singapore economy grow. We were happy to give you a percentage of that. Hello? Like, obvious versus, in every Western country around the world. It's like, what's the salary of somebody in office? 200 grand. The posted, listed before
the Nancy
trade,
Pelosi tracker.
before your.
How does someone with a $200,000 salary gain a $78 million net worth in 2 years? It's like
what staggering numbers, right? So, but my point is just like if you look at a system like that, in my mind, future micro nations, future nation states can be set up such that people of merit could run these small, and micronation might be as small as 500 people, 200 people. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. Like 10,000 people. Like in medieval times, some of them were groups of 10,000, whatever, with your coat of arms. And, you know, you had a small magnate running your economy. So I don't know, maybe future micro states or micro nation states will be 100 people, 200 people, 5,000 people. I have no idea. But if those institutions are set up with positions of leadership that are rewarded on merit, then by definition, the ministers and the populace, or the citizens, I should say, are going to be incentivized to perform.
Yes.
And for the benefit collaboratively of being the merchant.
It's the alignment of incentives, which is, again, obvious if you're a Bitcoiner. It's like, yeah, of course. We do it inside corporations, right? All bonus packages and executive comp, like it's always aligned to earnings per share and things like that. There's issues with that about the calculation.
Nothing's perfect.
But a performance-based component is like, of course, you want performance, well, then you better incentivize performance.
It's the entrepreneurs, it's the merchant's mindset, right? Like it's the merchant's mindset versus the salary man. Nope, I am incentivized to perform as low as humanly possible to not get fired.
And I think you're right again that that type of model will spread faster in this world where people and purchasing power are hyper portable
in the information age.
Yeah, because as these governance structures start to compete, they're going to say, "Oh, well, the tax base keeps moving over here. What are they doing?" And they're going to copy it. "Oh, they're incentivizing performance. Well, that's genius. Let's do that here."
Abracadabra.
So the Singapore model will spread. One other thing I wanted to say about democracy, just before we moved on, if anyone's interested, Hoppe wrote that book, Democracy, the God That Failed. And his defense of monarchy actually ties into a point you said earlier, in that the monarch had a capital interest in the tax base that he could pass to his son and his grandson, presumably, right? So he had a long-term interest in all of the businesses and all of the people, all of the taxpayers, that the, person in democratic office that holds that office for 4 to 8 years and then rotates out, they don't have that incentive to preserve the capital base. They have an incentive to be on the take. Get into the office, cut as many fucking corrupt deals and Nancy Pelosi portfolio maneuvers as you can, earn as much as you can, and then get out.
Treat the government like a rental car.
To corrupt it, to treat it like a rental car.
Just
That's exactly right.
Shit out of it.
That's
Leave
exactly
a burning
right.
cigarette butt on the floorboard.
That's exactly right.
Pass it to the next guy.
So, and I'm not saying, I don't know, like there's so much complexity there, but there's a good argument to be made, and Hoppe makes it in his book, Democracy, the God That Failed, that monarchy is superior to democracy.
Didn't you and Song do a couple episodes about this?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it at some point. And I've mentioned it probably a lot, but Hoppe is profound. But
so
again,
just go ahead. Sorry.
Just saying, I don't know the answers, but we need competition to figure these things
none of
out.
us
And
know the
maybe we do
answers.
all end up as monarchs. Like, who fucking knows? Like, what do we know?
But the answer is by definition, the market tells us none of us know. And
Yes.
that's cool. But what do we, all three of us, and hopefully everybody else who sees this as well, understands is like, we're not the demagogues of the universe. We're not telling you that we have the answers.
Yeah.
It's the market has the answer.
Yeah.
And we're hopefully through this exploratory process and this conversation, leading people to
participating in it.
exactly
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah.
It's taking responsibility. It's walking with your sword. It's the ways in training. It's sovereignty. It's moving out of that Luddite mentality of saying, you know what, oh, things are happening to me. The victim
Yes.
mentality. No. Take responsibility. It's hard.
For
That's
everything.
what I
It's
would say.
hard.
Radical responsibility.
Radical, yeah. Take responsibility. And this is, they use this in psychology, but like taking responsibility even for that which you're not directly responsible. Like
Brilliant.
practicing that is just gets you into the mindset of being productive and effective and competent. You know, the example I always use is like if the meteor hits the earth and we're all like, oh shit, well, I didn't do it, you didn't do it, none of us did it. But the quicker I can shift from woe was me, the world is coming to an end, to let me take responsibility for the situation and do something about it, the better off the world becomes.
Yep.
Right? You might just solve, get one person water or whatever the micro problem is, but you're still moving that direction versus moving this other.
So what can everybody do now on that front in responsibility? They can what? They can read.
Yeah.
They can read and nobody can take, oh, I didn't know about this. The information's there, man. It's like, it's $40. Buy the book.
Which is so ironic, right? It's the printing press.
Oh,
you're literally you're embracing
beautiful.
the liberating technology that is the printing press that brought down the medieval church, and it also gave rise to the money printer, the nation state, and now we've got Bitcoin acting as the printing press to the nation state.
But there's go ahead. Sorry.
Speaking of monarchs, if either one of you were king of the world, and you were gonna make everybody read 2 or 3 books, what would they be? Sovereign Individual, Bitcoin Standard.
I really don't like the way the question is phrased at all. First of all, I don't make anyone do anything.
Good point.
Like king of the world, first thing they want to do is abolish the kingdom. No more taxation, no more inflation.
If we were wise and thoughtful and reflective millennials, where would we recommend somebody who wants to go into the bright orange future to start reading? I don't know, maybe that's a good way to frame it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert,
I mentioned this one already, is like, if you want to know where the world's crazy right now, everyone agrees with that, at least, right? There's a lot of weird things happening, bad things happening. There's a lot of people attributing blame a lot of different places, but I think if you read that book, you would know pretty damn quick what's going on. We're going through the bankruptcy of the nation state paradigm. Like, we've seen this play out before, not with the nation state, but with other paradigms. And so, yeah, that's
in the Bitcoin Standard.
For
Bitcoin specifically, yeah, the Bitcoin Standard.
I think and that's probably the piece. And I don't even so reading on the education front, I think is so important. But I find even myself in the short attention span world we live in, I've also found, and I think people are more receptive to this, Robert, but I like your opinion as well. I think people are open to things like short form interviews as well. So in my mind, on my Mount Rushmore, if you want to call it that, would be again, this book ruined my life in 100 ways. And it ruined my life to the point that, and you can attest to this, it's like I've read it 4 times and I wrote now a 75-page book report on this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it becomes like a huge part of your life. But to me, on that Rushmore is like, if you're looking to learn more, consume content from, in my mind, the Rushmore people, which are like Michael Saylor, Jeff Booth, on opposite ends for the same reason. Guys like Mao, guys like your work. I really mean this, guys. It's like I wouldn't be here in the way that I am now, and I wouldn't have reached out in the way I did if the situation I was telling you about, Eric, in where I live, didn't happen the way it did, and I didn't hear the Saylor series and have the courage and the long access of time to watch a 25-hour, 18-episode series that you did in 2020. You know what I mean? So consume content from people who are meaningful, I'd say. And if you have the sense of responsibility and the courage to go for the long form stuff, then yeah, man, to me, Sovereign Individual, safe is on Rushmore too, by definition in my mind. Bitcoin Standard,
I think for economics, the Henry Hazlitt's book, Economics in One Lesson, pretty tough to beat. Like, it's so easy. It's such a great intro, but very thorough. It's a great book. Honest Money by Gary North is another one of these very accessible books.
Right.
Teaches you about money and banking through like a kind of a Christian ethics lens, which is important when you study money. Like, you need to understand the ethics and the morality and all of that.
One other thing I was going to say, I think that can I go back to the bridge piece with millennials? So I think, again, our generation here with the millennials, I think one of the most important responsibilities and challenges for us that we could uptake that I think would be really valuable. We were talking about this a bit, Eric, is like, how would you orange pill a boomer? Because it's like our parents, to me, represent a hurdle that in my mind is as close to impossible as you can get, which is fine. But my point is we're coming to a demographic period of time where in 15 years, the boomer generation, whether we like it or not, people aren't having kids the way they used to.
Yeah.
Like, when our parents are gone, the world will be full of people who don't know the world without Minecraft, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, that's the forcing function of the bright orange future. But it's like, in the meantime, I think there are people one generation older than us that need to be convinced they're on fire.
I agree. With
so
you.
if you're, say,
I immediately go to this chart again, which is from the Sovereign Individual.
Yeah.
But like, you talk to the guy's got $1 million in savings. Let's say he's near retirement, whatever. It's like if we're debasing the money supply at 7% a year, 10% a year, that's $70,000 to $100,000 a year you're getting debased. If you instead, for your son that's going to inherit this money, or if he instead, you opted out of that and got into Bitcoin, and then you started generating a yield on top of that, like this is like a $44.2 million decision. It's like, do you want to move to Bermuda? Do you want to change your savings account? These types of, for me, it's just the numbers. It's like people are the market's going to arrive at this calculus. Why not just go skip the line for people? So here, just come straight to the end of the line. Like here's what you're dealing with. This is the calculus of your economic situation.
Here's
Are the boomers dealing with too much FUD and confusion? There's increasing signal, but increasing noise in the world that we live in.
I think that's the short form element of it. But I think the real, and again, I speak in my case, they feel insufficiently on fire, and there's nothing sadder than being their kid, and it's so sad to say this, but to slowly watch them burn, man.
Yeah,
it's like we're gonna get to a point. I really hope not. It's so sad to say this, but I think we're gonna get to a point where they're gonna realize they're on fire, and it's too late. It's so freaking hard, man, to say that.
Yeah.
But then it's our job as the bridge to say, I know to be humble. You know what? I told you about this 15 years ago, and there's nothing we can do about that now. And here's what we can do. Let's try to do this. But I anticipate there will be some of that happening as well I don't mean this in the wrong way, from the losers and left behind. It's like in the boomer generation of people who are going to who have saved diligently through the 80s and done their part, and they worked their factory job. They grew up with 2 blue-collar jobs. We're able to raise a family. We're able to have a car. We're able to have a house, whereas the generation below us cannot in a lot of cases. But they're going to realize that everything they worked for a 50-year career, it's going to be that metaphorical, your grandmother leaves you her entire life savings, and it buys you a month of rent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is crazy to say. It's like, so in our parents' generation, it's like when they go, it's like if they want to give us their house, it's like they worked their entire life, like a 50-year career for that, and they give us something. And it would not shock me, guys. I don't know about you guys. If in 15 years, 20 years, and that happens, we're in a position where that income from getting your fraction of the house is worth a couple months' rent.
Yeah, I agree, actually. It's like people mostly move when the pain becomes acute.
Samson Mao, max pain theory.
Right? Yeah, the max pain theory.
Well, people are they're suffering from the optical illusion. They think they're getting wealthier because they own a house or some Apple stock or whatever that's going up in dollar terms.
Yeah.
But they're failing to complete that algebraic equation. How many dollars are in the system?
Denominate yourself in gold or Bitcoin or stake even, and you'll see the illusion, right? And I guess is in addition to giving people the calculus, it's also maybe just making the appeal. Well, I don't know. You have to get the education in, because no one's going to believe you.
No,
you're going to be like, listen, this is the end of the nation. So they're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's a religious statement, right?
Yeah.
So you can't give somebody, if you give somebody a religious
there's no
statement,
way around the work, basically. Okay. You can lead the horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Yep. Are they going to read the book? Maybe not. I don't know. In my experience, even sending someone a long podcast is like, you've got a 2% hit rate.
For sure.
Dude, I don't think I've sent the Sailor series to anybody yet that's listened to the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is and it blows my mind. And then speaking of Sailor, I forget what keynote he was doing, but he's like, hey, you work 40 to 60,000 hours of your life working for money. It would be prudent to spend 100 learning what money is.
Yeah.
It's like,
some of that.
Wow. All right, big guy. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But, if we can lead with that, is like, if we can hopefully live in a world where we can be a bridge and encourage people to take up long form or long time preference activities, sit down and read.
Yeah.
Even a bit. Make these habits. Give yourself a 5-minute habit. Take responsibility. Give yourself a 5-minute habit once a day. Read 5 pages before you go to bed. Put your zombie machine down.
Yeah.
5 minutes a day. And someone will get through that. Eventually, it might take them to get through 800 pages of font too. It might take them a year and a half, and that's fine, because that's still better.
Yes.
Than them doom scrolling and taking in the baseball scores. They're learning how baseball is played. in a 5-minute increments.
Yeah.
You know,
The other thing that could be useful is just the incremental exposure, like getting someone, I don't like to do this typically, but if you have a significant influence on someone, you can be like, look, just spot buy right now 2% of your portfolio in Bitcoin. Like just own it immediately. Then where your money goes, your mind follows.
Mm-hmm.
Like they might not want to read, they might not care about your podcast, they might not do this, might not do that. But if they own Bitcoin, you can bet your ass they're going to start thinking more and more and more about it.
It starts to appreciate. Do I sell some? They're productive. Do I buy more? Like
it's probably the highest leverage thing you can do is like just get Bitcoin into their hands somehow.
and it leads them into
And they need to buy it, by the way, because they need to have skin in the game.
Yep.
It's not good enough to give it to them because then it's a free roll. They don't have that.
Sure. You know, and this is where, in my mind, some of the work that I think Samson Mao's doing is so underrated in that sense. It's like the Aqua wallet to me is like, and I don't pump things, like I don't like that idea, but like he has made that wallet such that I can give it to a 70-year-old and they can use it because it's one click. It's
and it's a stable coin right next to some Bitcoin.
Sure. Yeah. And I haven't I'm not in that world. But my point is just for the how do we take this from being magic to being something mundane?
Yeah.
It's like how do we take something from the domain of of magic to the domain of monotony? And it's like that to me is one of the levers. Like the ease on the technology front is coming. I don't think we're there yet, but to me, it's like that's one of these things that I think is it's the propane on the fire. By, even 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it's like get a hardware wallet and then you're shaking your hand writing this passphrase because if you write the word wrong or whatever, but it's like, in my mind, it's become easier than ever to do this, to have a hardware wallet and run it. Like anybody can do that. Or, you know what, God forbid, like you said, let's tiptoe in. How about we just download this Aqua wallet? And how about, whatever, you just put $100 in it.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to the people who don't want to be sovereign? There are people who don't want to be sovereign. I know people who are like, I don't want to have the responsibility of holding my own private keys. Free market's going to come up with solutions for that. There's a Darwinian element to that, or
I think institutional multi-key. It's already happening. There's already providers doing it, on-ramp, others, but it's not. You're not going to have a cypherpunk solution to everything. I think there will be institutional grade solutions.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think maybe somebody who would be like a historian of the internet would probably be able to answer that question really well because they probably watched from the mid 90s.
Yeah.
The internet go from like a I don't want to say collectible, but from like a niche toy.
Yeah.
To again, right our era, right when we were starting to grow up, you could use dial-up.
Yeah.
And like everybody could use the internet.
Yeah.
And it went from being like a niche toy.
People were scared to put their credit card info online.
And
now we buy everything online.
To the point that,
and put photos of your trips, your families, literally your whole life is publicized.
Yeah. So it's in that regard, I think somebody who watched who studied and watched the internet explode could probably really be prophetic about how the wallet tech, about how the security tech is going to shape the next 10 years so that the Facebook moment, the internet moment that happened in our lifetimes happens for our kids' lifetimes on the wallet front. Like it will become normal that a 10-year-old has their 12 words and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, here's the solution. And this is what the solution is beyond me, whether it's the steal or whether it's multi-sig or whatever, and that's obviously an individual family choice, how you do it. But I think making a choice is 100 million X better than not.
Yeah. Well,
so
definitely pays a lot more than leaving it in the bank. This quote, electricity allows us to abolish space and time. I just thought that was so good. It's kind of like electricity plus internet lets us do that.
Yeah. We've gone from, the guy in the sky, in the plane in the 60s. That was abracadabra. 10 years before that was abracadabra. And then you got the homeless guy living in a box on the road looking up in the 60s and going, that's magic. And that's become mundane now.
Yeah.
How did I get here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's mundane. It's just like you just hop in and you do it. So in that front, what has electricity? What has tech? What has the bright orange future done? It's abolished space-time such that you, me, anybody else can be halfway around the world and do this instantly for free. You know, the authors cite a beautiful example that I think is worth mentioning here is like making a long distance phone call in 1945. So if you were on the London Stock Exchange in 1945, I think it was, and you had to make a call to New York because your trade was worth that much, you could do it. But a 3-minute call was like $645 in 1940 dollars. You could do it.
Wow.
And then in 1991, that same call was 31 cents.
Wow.
So, and 31 cents in 1991 dollars.
Wow.
So, and now, post 2020, what's the cost of a Zoom membership? Couple hundred bucks for the year?
Yeah.
Sit on it all day, leave it running 24/7.
Talk to anyone in the world.
So, electricity tech has made, to cite the book, it has eliminated the tyranny of place.
Yeah.
It has made it so that the guy living in the box on the road can look up at the airplane and go, that's normal. You know? And like, it's like we can conduct business with our neighbor as easily as you can conduct business with a sovereign individual in Singapore.
So cool.
I want to layer on another one of your quotes here. A slave is a tool with a voice. Now that slave can send a message to the entire world instantly from a little black square device in their pocket.
And that's why we're having the slave revolt. That is the failure of central banking. Like, people are just going to wake up and what? Why do I hold my money in these fake monopoly bucks?
It's that's Aristotle, right?
Yeah.
That's such a beautiful, you know, and think about like when he said that.
I know. Well,
Think about when
slaves were accepted then too.
all that stuff, but like the profound, the way that can transcend time, some of that stuff. Slave is a tool with a voice. What do we have now in our pockets? Abracadabra, man. Abracadabra with the GPT and everything. We have a digital servant in our pocket with a voice. You want to learn a new language? Ask the genie.
Yeah, we're about to have robots in the home too, right?
It's all coming, you know.
So cool. I mean, the march of technology just continually transforms everything. And the only way to be guaranteed to be wrong is like thinking whatever you're doing right now is the way you're going to do things. Like, that's the only guaranteed way, I think, to be wrong. It's like, no, that's just not how it works. Things keep changing. And you have to adapt or die.
Don't live with your dreams on the loom.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
what does Luke Broyles say? He says you have less in common with your near future than your distant past. And I like that one. Things are changing really quickly.
Yeah. And in an accelerating way. So like faster and getting faster.
Right.
Which is, it's impossible to comprehend.
Yep. And that's, I think, some of the latency we're seeing on this bright orange future is that it's humans' inability biologically to understand the accelerant on an accelerant.
The exponential function.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, the guy at Mercedes in the 20s who was like, there's never more than 1 million cars in the world. Like, that was probably insane for him to say. He's like, people were like, probably, you know what, how about 150 cars or 1,000 cars or whatever? He's like, 1 million. Let me be conservative. Yeah. It's like, that was blown out of the water. How fast? Yeah. You know, probably before he was dead. Yeah. Right. So it's like, I think humans have a limited capacity to understand that exponential piece, and biologically.
I've heard that law too, that we overestimate what we can do in the short run, underestimate what we can do in the long run.
Beautiful.
That's pretty accurate, it seems. Mike, man, this has been awesome. I love this book, so I'm really happy to talk about it again.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me all the way out here. It was a hoof for me to get here, but it's been great, and I wouldn't be here in my mind if we didn't have a chance as the three of us to give back to the world and the future. You know, to me, this is so much bigger than me or you or the three of us. It's not about us. It's like, why are we doing this? Because in my mind, I took the responsibility to read this frickin' thing, and we've taken the responsibility, the three of us, to say, you know what, let's give back. You know, let's give back. Let's give back. This is so much bigger in my mind than the three of us. And it's like any potential positive we can provide as that pebble in the water effect for somebody. It's like, this lives forever. You want to talk about technology? It's like, if you produce a piece today and in 15 years, one of your kids' friends sees it and it changes their life, pebble in the water, man. You know, so thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, this is a lot of fun.
I'd be happy.
I love it. And I'm here for the same reason you are. Yeah. Sometimes it's a little surreal, you know, but hey, what can I do? I want to help spread the message, you know?
I'm so happy to see the ripples rippling. Yeah. I mean, it's fucking awesome. You know, it's like, it's happening. I don't know. And this is one of the most energizing things about being in Bitcoin is like it's like you said, what do you always say? It's like watching paint dry day to day. But then when you zoom out, like, oh, look what's happened over the past 10 years.
Totally.
It's like, Bitcoin went from a complete joke, and now we've got the president at the Bitcoin
I feel like
conference.
we've been watching the paint get wetter for the last month or two. You know, you zoom out. Rapid change.
Any closing words of wisdom? If not, you could let people know where they can find you on the internet.
Yeah. So on that front, I really think, again, it's just read, take responsibility. It's so boring. Like the stuff that works isn't sexy. You know, it's like, I don't think there's a shortcut.
The work is work.
Whether your life is self-education, sovereignty, fitness, we talked about this. Take responsibility for your own life. It's brutal, but it will be so, I guess, in a Jordan Petersonian kind of way, it's like, that's what makes it worth it, you know?
Yeah.
And then on the socials front, I'm intentionally not on anything except Nostr.
Good for you.
So if somebody wants, we can leave, I guess, my NPub or whatever. And if somebody wants to zap me some sats for helping me, reimburse me for getting down here, that'd be great. But again, it's not about that. I don't want this to be about that. If this helps 100 people and somebody comes back in 10 years and says, hey, Robert, you know, this was wicked and that helped me read the book, there's the reward.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know your NPub by heart? Didn't we have a guy?
We did. It was so funny. He read the whole thing. Oh, man.
Hilarious.
Gary Mahmood.
Yeah, that was so funny.
He was a fun guy to talk to.
No, we'll definitely link it in the show notes. And yeah, dude, thank you. Like, your studious efforts are noticed, and I think you did a great job. This is a very hard book to talk about, too. I've talked about it on a lot of podcasts, and it's difficult content. So you did a great job.
Yeah, good energy. I'm all fired up.
Thanks, guys.
I came in here tired. I got a newborn, and you know, I'm all fired up now.
As we'd say in Japanese, kochira koso arigatou gozaimasu. Right back at you guys. You know, reciprocal, collaborative, the spirit of the merchant.
Beautiful.
You know, let's fight for the future, guys. Let's fight for the future.
Let's do it. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
All right. We lock our doors, we encrypt our hard drives, and we use strong passwords. But most people leave one thing wide open: their phone line. SIM swap attacks are one of the fastest growing methods of digital theft. In minutes, a hacker can clone your accounts, reset your passwords, and drain your life. Unfortunately, this is not science fiction. It happens every single day. Efani is the only mobile service protection designed exclusively to protect you from SIM swap attacks. Efani offers military-grade encryption on their product and offers up to $5 million of SIM swap insurance. And to date, there have been exactly 0 SIM swaps on any of Efani's over 50,000 protected accounts. So you don't need to live in fear, you just need to protect your weakest link. Go to efani.com/breedlove to secure your phone line today. Again, that's Efani, EFANI.com/breedlove. For the past 25 years, I've been reading roughly 1 book per week. Almost entirely difficult nonfiction books, the kind that really shift your thinking. Books on physics, money, power, psychology, spirituality, and philosophy. The real stuff. But I get it. Most people don't have time to read 50 books per year. So I hand-selected my favorite nonfiction books and distilled each one of them into a course that you can take in 50 to 100 times faster than it would take you to read the entire book. Each course gives you the key insights, mental models, and frameworks that matter. We launched with 15 book courses, and we are building toward a library of 100 by the end of year 1. So if you are a seeker of truth, wisdom, and personal growth, then my book course is for you. To sign up, go to course.breedlove.io. Again, that's course.breedlove.io. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money, and be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.